Morning, AJC. Baby Jules. Arch, good to see everyone. Hope your week got off to a good start. EB, Ryro, Paula. I can always tell if the Detroit teams won or lost. If they won, there's a better chance of big block lettering from Paula. If they lost, it's just normal.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Tuesday, as is always the case on a Tuesday. We hope your week got off to a good start yesterday, and thanks so much for being with us. Hold on one second. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. Did your week get off to a good start?
It did. I have to admit, while I love having something on every night, it was kind of nice not having to sit in front of the television last night and basically spend 3 hours watching whatever game it is that's important. We'll have another couple weeks of it. They start tonight. But I have to admit, it was kind of nice to be able to sit there and talk to my wife, yell at my child a couple of times, things like that.
Right.
Made it enjoyable. But no, it was, good Monday, uneventful, not a lot happening on the field, but plenty happening off the field.
So apparently the hammer is also behind this scheduling thing in the NFL. Apparently he wants this also. And if you don't know what we're talking about, the owners are meeting today and tomorrow in Minneapolis, and the Packers have reworked the language to getting rid of the tush push. And what they're trying to emphasize is the rule that was already on the books, which is you can't assist a runner. And so they're trying to emphasize that and say that the tush push is just an extension of that. We need to go back to enforcing the rules. We'll see if that works. They only had half the votes a couple months ago. They need 3/4. They need to twist 8 owners to change their mind. 8. And the thought is there's 7 that are hard and fast against overturning the tush push. So not a lot of margin for error. At least that's the thought. But apparently Goodell is behind the changing of the playoff seeding. Never heard him say anything about this before. In fact, I've heard him defend the status quo on numerous occasions. Curious what the rationale is behind this.
Well, I thought I thought there was some stock in what I believe it was Warren Sharp's post that we talked about yesterday, that by reseeding and starting with the best teams and then reseeding like they've always done, it gives you the best chance to have a 1 versus 2 conference final. And they believe that that will provide the highest ratings. If you look at what Goodell and company have done when it comes to scheduling, they are making sure, or trying to make sure, that every damn week the NFL is the most important thing. They did it again this year on Christmas, putting marquee games up to make sure they annihilate the NBA. They did it this year again with the games that they are scheduling against the college football playoff. And the other point that Warren Sharp made that there could be some credence to, David, is that if we are seeding a straight 1 through 7 in each conference without division winners mattering, it will make the last week of the season matter more. There will be more at stake in terms of seeding. This year, week 18, we didn't really have anything at stake, David. We had like one game that mattered, I believe.
And so in theory, teams may not be mailing it in the final week of the year because of playoff seeding. And, instead of being locked in as a wild card and a road game, there may be 1 or 2 quote unquote wild card teams that actually have a chance to finish with better records than division champions. So they may want the home game as the 3 or the 4 seed. Okay. I guess. I mean, do you think that week 18 teams are mailing it in?
Yes, they are. Plenty of them do. Do you think that and now this year wouldn't have mattered, but do you think if week 18 mattered, the Chiefs would have been beaten by the Broncos 38-0?
Yes.
And nothing they could have done about that this year because they were
Right.
already locked in as the 1. They
Right.
would have done that regardless.
Right.
But yes, plenty of teams mail it in. They don't play their starting quarterbacks if they don't need to. Yes, of course they do. It's the
Okay.
1 week of NFL load management. It's the only week of NFL load management.
I think it'll be interesting to see how much teams value or don't value the better seeding. We just got done talking yesterday about look who's still alive in basketball and hockey. And how, especially in the NHL, my goodness. Basically, if you had a top 8 record in the league, I think 7 of you are home. Didn't make it through to the 3rd round. So just how important was the regular season? Or is it more important to be rested and as healthy as possible and ready to go come playoff time? And I'm curious what teams will think. Do you risk injury with a few guys that are 70-30 who you're going to have to play next week because you don't have the first round bye? You're not the 1. I'll be curious going forward to see how much teams also, we spent all year talking about it. Home fields never meant less.
No, it hasn't. But there's not a doubt in my mind that players and coaches still believe that it matters in the postseason. The sleeping in your own bed, the same routine, all of the comforts of home, while they may not translate on the playing field like they once did. I believe that the player mentality, that the coach mentality will emphasize trying to play at home. Now, what would be interesting, David, is if the owners add a little something to a player's home playoff game, you get this bonus, because you know who it matters to? Matters to the owners a lot.
Oh, sure.
Home playoff game, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. The cash registers, they are a-rolling.
It's also interesting to me that the Lions are the ones that are putting this proposal forward, I believe. Haven't they won the division each of the last 2 years?
Yes.
I mean, was their seeding impacted at all each of the last 2 years? I'm trying to think. I mean, weren't they the I don't know, weren't they the 1 seed last year?
They were.
Right.
No, David, I'm interested in that as well. And you wonder if indeed Goodell's behind this. He went to the Lions and told them to put the proposal together. I mean,
that's true. Maybe they're just doing Raj a solid and they're saying, hey, just store that chip. Okay, we may call and ask you for something. Huh? Okay. But so it means that the glorious 4 seed, the division champ from the worst division in the conference, is likely at the very least to lose their home playoff game. The NFC and the AFC South champions, Mark, in recent years, that's who's greatly affected here.
I wonder, it sounds like this has more momentum than the tush push of going through. Like, I don't know if they're going to get the votes on the tush push. As you mentioned, there seem to be a lot of hard and fast no's. You say 7. They've always talked about, obviously, the Eagles, and then the coaching tree from Sirianni more than likely would vote against banning the tush push. So I'm curious as to how they think they have the votes to ban it. I do think adding the language that they did helps, because I hate the downfield blocking of the running back down the field more than I hate the tush push.
So the runner who's tied up, he's gotten his 18-yard gain, and now it looks like his momentum has been stopped, and the defenders have stood him up, and here come the 2 offensive linemen at full speed who pound into the pile and push the pile forward 3 yards.
Right. And, I love that you went 18 yards. I like that you just pulled that random number out. I love it early in the morning. But more times than not, it's a 5-6 yard run that turns into a 9-10 yard run and does what, David? Gives the team a first down.
Well, I have to admit, growing up, I thought that was illegal too. I thought that was assisting the runner. I feel as if I, was watching a completely different game growing up. Noticed these things in recent years, and I'm like, I didn't realize you could do that. Did I miss something all these years? Do I need a Snickers, a nap? What's going on?
Well, first off, a Snickers and or a nap is never a bad thing. It's really the determination you have to make with the nap. Are you a nap with the television on person, or does everything have to be out? Because I've found there's a couple of shows that I can turn on that are like a warm glass of milk and counting sheep, if you know what I mean.
So they help the cause.
Oh, immensely. I now have shows that I put on just to put me to sleep.
Should that be early nomination for a poll question? Which sports put you to sleep?
Which sport is the best sport to nap to?
Right.
For me, golf is great, but the hypnotic pulses of NASCAR going around in the same circle over and over, I can usually last 4 laps before I go down for the count.
That's interesting. It's interesting. A lot of people I know say it's baseball. Okay. The silky smooth rhythm of a baseball game can put them under. NASCAR, usually it's too loud, but okay. I like it. Spitz in our Twitch chat room says it's horse racing.
Better fall asleep quickly. The race usually only lasts 1:50.
Right.
Miller and Moulton. Great show lined up for you once again on a Tuesday. You know what Tuesdays mean around here. They mean David Samson and Pat Kirwan. And John Oreovicz will join us to talk some IndyCar as well. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Defining a new era in Men's Health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from that fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Tom, thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller _Moulton on X. David Samson at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan, midway through the show, at least in the 239 and the 904. He'll join us at the top of the 8 a.m. Eastern hour. John Oreovicz will join us in a couple hours to talk about a story that, Mark, I don't know if it interests you or not. It does interest me because, well, it involves the C word. And there's two of them in sports, choking and cheating. And this one is cheating. And I always find those stories interesting.
Yeah, me too. Anytime I get an opportunity to talk IndyCar racing, I get excited about that. I mean, the only thing that excites me more is if we're going to talk F1.
Well, we're not going to talk F1.
Oh, damn it.
I'm sorry. Okay. I don't even think I booked a Miami Grand Prix guest this year.
And trust me, there are days I leave the show with my arms raised over my head, cheering wildly about things like that.
Right. But here's why I find this story interesting, and you may have to suffer through a segment later on in the show. So Roger Penske saved essentially IndyCar racing and the stature of the Indy 500 when he bought both many years ago. And both have been returned to, some, especially the 500 has been returned to some luster. Ratings are up. Interest by networks in purchasing the race is up. Attendance is up drastically, so much so that this year it's a complete sellout and they're lifting the local blackout in Indianapolis. But, he owns the track. He owns the race. He owns the series. Well, then what happens when his race team is accused of cheating? What do you do? It's his track. It's his race. It's his series. And up until the last 48 hours, that's basically what the other race teams did. They just kind of said, well, gray area, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure they didn't mean it. Blah, blah, blah. Because there have been other incidents in the past few years. Well, apparently, Penske Racing modified some part on a car that you're not allowed to modify. And even though the part's intended for safety, the way they modified it made it more aerodynamically, appeasing, and in theory could make the car go faster than the other cars with the same part. And the other
wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Mm-hmm. They put a car part on a car to try to make the car go faster.
Well, they actually put it on the car to make it be safer in case of a crash. And what the Penske team did was they said, well, that's nice, but this part kind of sticks up a little bit and it's rough, and we're going to sand the sucker down. We're going to, make it smooth so that aerodynamically, it doesn't cost us a tenth of a second or what have you. We're going 233 miles an hour here. We can't slow down. And Mark, the other race teams have lost their blank in the last 2 days. Absolutely lost their minds. People calling out Roger Penske and Penske Racing who have never said a bad thing about him before. And his drivers, two of them, they got thrown to the very back of the field. And there were people that said they're lucky to be in the race. I think they should have been knocked out of the race and have had to emergency qualify on Sunday.
Is that carb day?
No, I think carb day was earlier. Okay, I think carb day involves the pole. Okay, but maybe Sunday was carb day because Sundays when you
I know they have a carb day though, where they serve
yes.
pasta.
Well, that's not exactly it. It's not meant for pasta. It's meant for carburetors. But okay, right. See, you're making fun. This is another inside thing because who used to be the third wheel on the show in our first act, John Cassio, our longtime producer, one of his favorite days of the year, how most of you get excited about the NFL draft, that was John Cassio on Carb Day. He had a big weakness for IndyCar racing. And he still, to this day, will just send us a barrage of texts on Carb Day about Indy 500 qualifying.
I have 3 poll questions ready to go, and now I have a 4th.
Wow.
And it's all because of your love of this story. I would almost like to ask our audience, do you consider motorsports a sport? I know a lot of our audience loves it. I know they're, anytime we mention, we've got someone who texts every day and wants us to, do more F1. If I lived in Europe, we might.
Can we phrase it? Do you consider racing a sport? I mean, because if you say motorsports a sport, I mean, it's in the name.
Okay. Well, do you consider motor? Well, I mean, I just wanted to separate it from
right.
horse.
Right. Okay. Auto racing. Okay, sure. If you want to go there. If that's your backlash, if that's you, taking it out on me that I am fascinated by this story, cheating. Choking and cheating, baby. Those are worth segments. Choking and cheating.
I got to take you behind the green door here a little bit, folks. Because David's brought this up on air, but it's worth bringing up on air again. Many years ago, when we were both here in Fort Myers and we were doing afternoons on the station that still broadcast our now syndicated show in the Fort Myers, Naples area, a consultant from the 4-letter network was in and said a bunch of really nice things about Miller and Moulton. And then gave us what his harsh realities were, because he loved the show. He loved the vibe. He loved everything about it. And he's like, why in the hell did you guys start talking hockey at 5:00? At the time we were doing afternoons, that's your money hour, 5 to 6. I would argue in the mornings, 8 to 9 is our money hour. The most people driving to work, the most listeners of the 4 hours that were on the air. And it may be close with the 7:00 hour. I would love to know what that consultant would think about us going IndyCar at 8:38.
Well, as someone who books the show, I'm going to defend myself. It is tough to get guests on a morning show.
I know.
And I really wanted the guest at 7:38, and the guest was like, that's pretty early. What else you got? Well, I got 8:38. All right, I can do 8:38. So I hear you. I hear you. That's your 5:00 hour if we were in the afternoons. But
we've got cheating in racing.
Right. Right. And it's not NASCAR. Okay, where you know we accept it more readily. But I also think it's the fact it's the race team of the guy who owns the track, who owns the race, who owns the series.
Shouldn't he be able to do what he wants then? I mean, isn't that basically saying it's good to be the king? To quote a movie from over 40 years ago? Yes, I did, this early in the morning.
So, all right, it's a story that only interests me, and well, you and Mark can sit it out in a couple hours. I'll remind everybody when it's coming, and well, you can just behave accordingly.
The starting 5, that's next. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So is that the only question you posted?
I can post a bunch of them. Just trying to find a cool story and trying to read about this IndyCar thing so I can ask a somewhat intelligent question.
No, you got 2 hours.
Well, I know, but I don't have every commercial break to do it. There are other things that have to happen.
Yeah, that's true. Golly.
Do I need anything more than should the NFL go to straight seeding for the playoffs based on record? Yes, no. People should be able to understand that, right?
Correct.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes before David Samson joins us at the top of the hour here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kirwan to join us at the top of the 8 a.m. Eastern hour. Lots to be voted on and discussed at the second NFL owners meetings. We'll get to it, as now is the time for
The starting five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting five.
And we'll start with those NFL owners meetings, which get underway later today in Minneapolis. 3 big votes. First off, and it's expected to pass, that NFL owners are going to allow players to participate in the Olympics. Now, the thought is for flag football, but who knows? Maybe one of them is good enough to compete in a track and field event of some kind. But the NFL owners expected to allow players to participate in the 2028 Olympics, and I'm assuming future Olympics, with the thought being that they would play, some of them, for their countries in flag football. Other things being voted on. Mark, your thought, you wouldn't allow it as an owner, correct?
Hell no. Are you serious? Let them go take a chance to get. I don't let them ride jet skis. I'm going to let them go play flag football where there will be contact, where they will be moving at full speed, where Achilles can be ruptured, where knees can be blown up. Are you nuts? Hell no. This is the dumbest thing I've ever. Like, we can't win the Olympics without the NFL football players. This is ridiculous. For flag football, I don't get it. I would never allow it.
But you know that's not why they're doing it. They're not doing it because they're afraid that the U.S. won't take home the gold. They're doing it because they want all of the exposure and promotion that comes with the Olympics directed towards the NFL, and also specifically flag football, and specifically women playing flag football. You know, if we're paying attention to Mahomes and Tyreek Hill playing flag football, we'll also pay attention to the women's competition. And what is it the NFL is trying to do? They're trying to win over young people. They're trying to win over future moms, young moms, to allow their kids to keep playing the game. So this is all marketing and exposure. They're trying to use the Olympics.
David, I heard what you said. They're trying to grow their sport globally. I don't think this has anything to do with the U.S. I really don't. They want the
That's true.
exposure overseas. They've got the exposure. They don't need any more exposure in the United States of America. They don't.
Okay. I do agree with you, though.
What?
There's
Another
no
poll
doubt.
question.
Wow.
Should the NFL allow? I've got 3 of them. I may
Wow.
have 10
You
at the end of the show.
you are on fire today when it comes to poll questions. A second big vote is the Packers, who want the tush push outlawed, despite how good the Packers were on 3rd and 4th and short last year. But they want the tush push outlawed, and they're lumping it in with the rule that's already on the books about you can't assist the runner, which is what I've advocated for years. Like, isn't this assisting the runner? And the Lions are the ones officially that put their name on the reseeding of the playoffs, in which they just do it by record. Best record, 1 seed, second best, 2 seed, right on through. Now, you win your division, you're guaranteed a playoff spot, but you are not guaranteed a playoff seeding. And like they've done in the past, they would reseed after the wild card round for the division playoffs so that the 1 seed plays the worst team left after the wild card round, etc. Some other NFL notes: the 49ers re-signed linebacker Fred Warner. They gave him a 3-year extension at $21 million a year. He had 2 years left on a contract. So Fred Warner is signed for 5 more years. Now, he had no guaranteed money left on his current deal. This deal gives him $56 million of guaranteed money. So basically, the Niners have signed Fred Warner for 5 years, but the guaranteed money will cover 3. Fred Warner turns 29 midway through this season. Some college football news: the Gators have added FAU to their football schedule next year and South Alabama to their schedule in 2027. Gators basketball, Arkansas God Boogie Fland, he was going to enter the draft, decided, not liking what I'm hearing. So then he decides to leave Arkansas. He's in the portal. Well, he spent it yesterday and today in Gainesville. By the way, the Gators basketball team headed to the White House tomorrow to be honored in our nation's capital for winning the Natty. Baseball last night: Marlins with 2 in the 9th, 2 outs. Jesus Sanchez, 2 RBI triple to win it, 8-7 over the Cubs. Red Sox beat the Mets 3-1. New York's lost 4 of 5, and as predicted, they fell out of first place because the Phillies went to Denver and beat Colorado 9-3. Schwarber hit his 300th career home run.
And it still hasn't landed. Holy Toledo, like a 465-foot bomb for number 300.
It does need to be pointed out that the Rockies are 8-39. They're on a pace to win 28 games. 28.
That's a bad season in the NBA.
Correct. No one has ever won less than 40 after the 19th century. The Mets went 40 and 120 back in 62. The White Sox last year went 41 and 121. They're on pace to win 28 games. The Rays lost. Of course they did. They were home. This Steinbrenner Field thing, that ain't working out. At least not in terms of wins and losses. Astros beat them 4-3. Rays are 11 and 18 at home, but remember, they opened 4-1. They're 7 and 17 in their last 24. Brewers hand the Orioles their 7th straight loss, 5-4. Baltimore's 15 and 31. They're on pace to lose 110 games. The Orioles. The Guardians and the Twins suspended by rain in the 4th. They'll pick that game up at 6 o'clock today Eastern, finish it, and then play the regularly scheduled game. Mariners have won 4 in a row. They beat the White Sox 5-1. Julio Rodriguez with a slam. By the way, the White Sox Not as bad as last year, but they're trying. They're 14-34. Cardinals, 6-run seventh. Sonny Gray, 6 scoreless innings. St. Louis all over Detroit, 11-4. Our Reds, Mark, with a 5th straight win. They're over 500, 7-1 over the Pirates. By the way, Pittsburgh's only a game ahead of the White Sox. They're 15-33, and they're only the 3rd worst team in the league. That's unbelievable. Royals are 2 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, beat the Giants 3-1. Angels have won 4 in a row. A's have lost 6 in a row. LA 4-3. And the Dodgers have lost 4 in a row, despite Betts hitting 2 homers. And Ohtani's hit 17, by the way. But Arizona beat the Dodgers 9-5. NBA playoffs tonight, 8:30 on the 4-letter network. ESPN, it's very simple to remember. ESPN has the Western Conference in hoops and hockey. TNT has the Eastern Conference in hoops and hockey. Minnesota OKC, game 1 tonight in Oklahoma City. Mark, are you surprised the Thunder are 7.5-point favorites?
I think that's a little high. I mean, if I were to play it, I think I'd play the T-Wolves and take the 7.5. But Oklahoma City has a tendency when they beat teams to beat them.
Right. They don't win a lot of 105, 103 games.
No, they tend to humiliate their opponent.
And they whoop up on you usually when they win. So that's the hoops tonight at 8:30. Meanwhile, 8 o'clock, the hockey on TNT. Game 1, Eastern Final, Panthers and Hurricanes. Should be an entertaining series.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I think there'll be a ton of hitting and very fast. Very fast. In fact, I could argue the Canes are every bit as fast as the Panthers. Not as heavy, but every bit as fast.
I hope you're right. Carolina likes to play a very boring style of hockey and muck up the neutral zone and slow things down, even though everything you said I agree with, that these teams are the same style of team. Florida is just 10 times tougher and more physical.
8 o'clock tonight, Eastern Conference in hockey. And then finally, the story that apparently I'm the only one interested in. 2-time defending Indy 500 champ Joseph Newgarden and his Penske teammate Will Power dropped from row 4 to the last 2 spots in the field for a rules violation. Their race strategist suspended for the race. IndyCar president.
Who was suspended for the race?
They're race strategists.
They're strategists? Is that like a caddy in IndyCar racing?
Well, it's kind of like a general manager, I guess.
Okay. Oh, so it's more important than a caddy.
Right.
It's kind of like a Ryder Cup captain.
I mean, you could argue it's a crew chief.
Okay. All right.
IndyCar president Doug Bowles says we need everyone to believe that it's a level playing field, unquote. Chip Ganassi, Graham Rahal unloaded on Penske Racing yesterday. What's also interesting to me, and apparently me only, Mark, and you know this, when you win the Daytona 500, when you win the Indy 500, they grab your car and they put it on display at the track in their museums in Daytona and Indianapolis for the year. You lose the car, but you won the damn race. And it's an honor, and people who come and visit it and take pictures and what have you. Well, I mentioned Newgarden's won this race 2 years in a row. So last year's car is in the museum. The rules infraction that nearly got him kicked out of this race and moved to the very back of the field, yeah, it's right there on the car that won last year too. And somehow it wasn't noticed, or nobody complained, or whatever that was going on. So, Mark, here's the deal. When you go home and you're working on that golf cart in your driveway, okay, do not make an adjustment to the rear attenuator. Okay, it's a safety device. Don't worry about its aerodynamics. even if it slows that cart down, okay, from 18 to 17.9.
Is that to the right of the flux capacitor?
It's right there, Mark. It's right there. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was starting five. Five big stories and a rear attenuator that you need to know here on Miller and Moulton.
Attenuator? I just met her. If we were in the same room right now, would you throw something at me or punch me?
No, I was actually wondering if you will have already done that. I might in retaliation, but if we were in the same room when you saw the guest list, you would have gone upside me and down the other. We have an Indy car guest in our 8 o'clock hour on a Tuesday.
I did say that this morning at around 4:30. I'm not gonna lie.
Figured you did. I mean, you knew we were getting Bob Pockrass or somebody like that. It's a big racing weekend, Memorial Day weekend. You knew Thursday or Friday we were getting a racing guest. But when you saw it on a Tuesday,
at least when you go Bob Pockrass, we can do Indy and the 600 there.
right?
Kyle Larson's going to run in both. And
Right.
I do find that to be an impressive feat. I do. I mean, race one car, get in your private plane, fly to another place and race another car. I mean, if he
Right.
were to race a car between Indy and Charlotte and then get in a car, that would be impressive. Indy 500 cannonball run
To Charlotte,
from Indy to Charlotte,
right?
preferably with Dom DeLuise in an ambulance, and then race the 600.
Do you want the tractor trailer with the elephants too? I mean, does that have to be part of it?
Wouldn't hurt. Would not hurt. One of our favorites, we will not talk Indy racing with him, David Samson, coming up at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan, the top of the 8 o'clock hour, and then the interview you've all been waiting for. We break down the cheating scandal at the Indy 500 at 8:38 here on Miller and Moulton.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. I feel tired, sluggish, and just not myself. I'm gaining weight, my energy is low, and I've lost my drive. Could it be low testosterone?
Absolutely. Testosterone naturally declines over time, but you don't have to accept it. Low T can affect your energy, strength, mood, and focus. But here's the good news. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, can help restore your vitality and get you back to feeling your best. Imagine waking up strong, sharp and energized, ready to take on the day like you used to. At Revitalize Clinic, we specialize in physician-guided, American-made TRT designed just for you.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. Feel like yourself again. Testosterone replacement therapy, because your best years aren't behind you, they're just getting started. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, David.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
What do we got going today? Anything fun?
I'm just annihilating my co-host because he is fascinated with this Indy 500 cheating story and booked a guest. And booking guests on our show in the mornings is, you at 7's unreal because it's tough to get people to do anything in the 7 o'clock hour. So we booked him at 8:38, and I have just been terrorizing David since the start of the show of going Indy 500 in the most important hour of the show. I just lost you. Are you muted? Did you hit something?
Yes, I did. Sorry. So the 8 o'clock hour, most important, which means me and all the listeners, unimportant.
That's not true. I would say I would say the 8 and the 7 are close, giving commuter traffic in the morning. I would think the 6 and the 9 are the least, if you know what I mean.
So I'm going to do some reading because I was just at my son's graduation for 3 days, and my daughter's graduation is today. I don't know what happened with the Indy 500 story.
Penske, who owns the whole thing, basically has modified the cars, and they didn't pass inspection, and they're pushed to the back. But he owns the track, he owns the series, and he's cheating. And
what conflict of interest? My
a little bit, yes.
It ruins the whole thing. What, does he have to penalize himself? A little slap on the wrist?
Right.
That doesn't seem fair to me.
But I'm going to get in. I want to talk to you. I'm going to ask you on air because I think this whole flag football in the Olympics and the owners making them play ridiculous. If I'm an owner, there's no way I am letting my $300 million prize possession get on a flag football field.
Listen, during the Cold War, I'd think about it at best. But now, forget it.
And now, this is, and we've always pushed you for a World Baseball Classic during the season. I'm like, this has kind of ended my argument with that. Like, no.
You're right.
What is the funniest new movie you've seen in the last couple of years? Comedy, not something heavy, something that I'm going to laugh at. You watch movies every day.
I'm going to consult my list for you.
All right, I love it.
Because, of course, I keep a list of every movie I watch. It's got to be funny. Can it just be the best movie I've seen in a really long time?
I'll take that, too.
The Ballad of Wallace Island. I'm telling you, it's incredible. It's about a rock star who gets hired to do a private gig by a guy who won the lottery and bought a private island with his winnings. It's so good that...
All right.
It's so good. A Nice Indian Boy. That's a comedy that made me laugh.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Most days we struggle just to get one poll question. Today we have three. Should the NFL allow their players to play flag football in the Olympics? Yay or nay? Should the NFL go to straight seeding for the playoffs based on record? Yay or nay? Do you consider auto racing a sport? Yay or nay?
That's
David
a terrible
Samson.
one.
Well, but that's because I booked an IndyCar guest in the 8:00 hour about this Indy cheating scandal. That's Mark's way of protesting. I'm in charge of booking the show. Mark's in charge of the poll question. This is some tremendous passive-aggressive stuff going on between the hosts this morning, David.
I love that you guys are having a fight. It sort of makes me smile because you guys fight like an old married couple.
Yes.
It's not at all about the subject you're fighting about.
No, this is about power and control, David, like most relationships nearing the end, okay? It's about power and control.
And a dad bod.
Well,
see, Mark got himself in shape too. Okay. You know what's funny, David? Between the two of us, Mark's lost like 35 pounds. I've lost like 20. Okay. In Mark's case, you can tell. In my case, you can't.
You need to put the camera lower. Look at how much Mark shows on camera. It's like from the belly up, and you're always only from the chin up. That puts you at an immediate disadvantage in the weight loss category.
that's a very true statement.
I'd love to, but my head is so big, okay? If I lower the camera, you'd see me from the nose down.
Yeah, anyway. But you'd win the bet.
Anyway, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. See what it is David Samson's talking about. He's got this award-winning podcast. He records it in 57 minutes. You can follow him on X, David, the letter P. Samson, David P. Samson.
I'll tell you what, David, I feel as if I owe you a bit of an apology today because we have come at you seemingly for a couple of years about why can't baseball stop their season for the World Baseball Classic? Look at all it would bring and all of this stuff. And this morning, this whole vote on the NFL allowing its players to play in the Olympics, to me, is one of the most asinine things I've ever heard of. The fact that you're going to take one of your assets that's worth, a quarterback could be worth $500 million these days, and risk injury for a flag football exhibition that we could send any group of Americans and easily win this seems absurd to me, and yet it's going to pass, David.
Well, just because it's going to pass doesn't actually mean that there's going to be NFL players who play on the Olympic flag football team. What the owners are saying is, hey, we're going to be okay with it. And you have to realize when companies are voting on things, and the NFL is a company for all intents and purposes, they don't want to go sideways with Washington. And this administration is very pro-Olympics and very patriotism. And they don't want to be seen as getting in the way of potential Olympic gold. They'd rather pass the buck to the agents, to the players. If you're a pending free agent, forget it. If you're at the end of your rookie deal, forget it. You're not going to do it. I'm completely against it if it's my player as a president, or if as an agent, or as the player's family, because you're not really getting paid. I mean, you may get some endorsements, etc., but it's flag football. Come on. It's ridiculous.
Did Bud Selig during your tenure and then Rob Manfred during the end of your tenure, did they ever pick up the phone, call you, and arm twist you to do something you didn't want to do? Because this apparently is being driven by the commissioner. The owners are thinking like, Mark, I don't want because there was a Robert Edwards 30 years ago, got hurt on the sand in the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, blew out his knee, was never the same again. It's a freak thing. It's hardly ever happened. But that's what Mark is referencing. How could you lose an asset in a flag football game? Did a commissioner ever twist your arm to do something you didn't want to do?
So I was on the international committee, so I was very much in favor of the World Baseball Classic. So the commissioner didn't have to twist my arm. But definitely the commissioner does twist arms because, for example, Paul Skeens is a great example. Great attention being played and paid to Paul Skeens joining the USA team for the World Baseball Classic. And the general manager, Mike Hill, former Marlins president of baseball ops, was super excited to have Paul Skeens. If I'm Bob Nutting, the owner of the Pirates, and I'm hated anyway, but I got a guy who's cheap and I have him for 4 more years. I don't want him playing the World Baseball Classic because I want him performing at these cheap pre-arbitration salaries. But for baseball, for USA, it was something that certainly was important, if not necessary. And then you get the result you get because small market teams, low payroll teams, they are very dependent on the commissioner's office. They're dependent on money that comes in through revenue sharing. So there's a lot of arm twisting that happens in that regard. So it definitely does happen.
And obviously, there's a lot of arm twisting going on in the NFL right now. They're trying to ban the tush push, which means the commissioner's out trying to get votes. They're trying to change playoff seeding, which means the commissioner's out trying to get votes. How much of that happened in baseball? I mean, just to kind of go on what you were talking about, how much of that goes on where owners are working other owners to get these type of things done? I mean, I've got to think this tush push, for instance, we hear there are 7 owners dead fast against it. That means they've pretty much got to get every other vote. How does the back channeling work?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. It has to be 24-8 to pass anything out of 32. And it's not really owner v. owner. It's actually the commissioner. And he'll send his lieutenants out to canvass the clubs, try to convince the clubs. There is vote-getting conversations happening all year long. And when it really gets down to it, if there is a team that could be the difference between what the commissioner wants and what the commissioner doesn't want, the commissioner himself will enter the fray and will call the owner and say, listen, we've spoken to your baseball people. We've spoken to your team president. Now it's time to speak to you. We need you to vote either yes or no on this issue. It's very important. That's the job. By the way, every CEO you know is vote counting with their board all the time. It's very, very normal. And the board in football is 32 guys. The board in baseball is 30 guys. So I'm not at all concerned about Roger Goodell doing that. That's his job.
All right. Play along with me for 30 seconds, if both of you will. I think we all think that after the 26th season, we're going to have a strike lockout of some kind. It could be nasty. It could last a long time. This could do real damage to baseball again. What if Rob Manfred comes out of it and decides, you know what? We got to be in the Olympics. We got to suck up again. We got to represent. We got to do something to turn the tide. And all of a sudden, Manfred in the summer of 27 is saying, listen, we got to put our players in the Olympics next year. Okay, what would the owners do if the commissioner decided we have to play in the Olympics?
Well, it certainly wouldn't get in the way of a labor strategy because he just wouldn't have the support.
No. But once the labor is settled, but baseball is damaged by the negotiations, and Manfred's like, listen, to get this back, we don't have a Cal Ripken who's going to go 21-31 here. To kind of get us back, we got the NFL playing in the damn Olympics. We got to be in the Olympics.
Well, you could always get a Maguire Sosa because in 98, that was very helpful to getting baseball back. You let steroids back in the game. You don't test as many people. You get people hitting 70 to 80 home runs and boom, you're back, baby. But I hear what you're saying. That is a very tough vote. There was a lot of talk during the World Baseball Classic formation of what time of year it should be. And there's been talk ever since about moving it to the middle of the season in order to try to assuage owners that, hey, your pitcher's not going to get injured because he won't get ramped up for March. We'll just have it during the course of the season and we'll stop the season for 2 weeks. And there's very, very little momentum to have that happen because you can't shut down pitchers in the middle of a season for 2 weeks. They'd have to ramp up again. Baseball is a game of rhythm, etc. So would baseball players be allowed to play in the Olympics? The commissioner would love it. Washington, D.C. would love it. The networks would love it. How mechanically it would work has never been agreed to, and to this day is not agreed to.
Well, I mean, that seems to be baseball for you right now. As David talked about a labor dispute, the one thing we've talked about in the show is that the owners are so far apart from one another with the regional cable systems going down the tubes, and then you still have your Yes networks and your Nessens that are making all kinds of money. How hard is it going to be for the owners to get whatever it is they're going to propose to the players on paper, because it seems that there's a canyon between, let's say, where the Dodgers are and, I don't know, where the Marlins and Pirates are, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I do know what you mean. And there is a canyon, and that is what's happening now. It's funny you say it, because the lobbying from the commissioner's office starts right after the previous CBA is signed. You're meeting with teams and you're trying to understand what issues are important to the team. You get an issues list, you get a priority issues list from each team. And the commissioner's office under Dan Hallam, who's in charge of all this, and it used to be Rob, by the way, under Bud. Now it's Dan Hallam. He's putting together like a chessboard. Well, if we give here, then we get that vote, but we lose this vote. And you're always solving for, it's got to be, as you know, 23-7 in baseball. So it becomes a pretty interesting big deal, because 8 blocks anything. And so that sort of negotiations happening. I just want to correct one thing. Yes Network is not doing great. Neither's Nesson. None of the networks are doing well at all. They used to be worth 10x what they're worth now. And you're seeing it all across the board. And so there is some view of the commissioner and Major League Baseball that they'll actually be able to get the rights to all local broadcasts, except the Dodgers, who have a deal that is not in danger, has not gone down, will never go down. So the Dodgers will never vote for that. But guess what? No one cares. You don't need the Dodgers. You could do a national deal with 29 of the 30 teams.
We have less than a minute. 3 managers already fired. I think Schneider in Toronto, if there's going to be a 4th at any point by the All-Star break, I think he might be it. Do you think anyone else is in trouble?
I would say that Shapiro's in bigger trouble than Schneider in Toronto, because they kept Vladimir, they signed him, they kept the team for the most part together, and they've just had their window closed completely, in that they're just not good. And they thought maybe one more time, and I did that all the time. One more time, man, let's do it. And it just doesn't happen for most teams. Schneider is someone who could be blamed, but it's really going to be Shapiro and Atkins. And in terms of another manager, I'd say that's a very good guess. Unless Soto says that he wants Mendoza gone. Or Soto's family.
Take it easy. You've been listening to WFAN too much. My goodness. He's David Samson. Nothing personal with David Samson. He records it in 47 minutes. Then it's rebroadcast on the DraftKings network at 9 and 10 o'clock. Follow him on X, David P. Samson.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. A few of my friends are taking daily Cialis or Viagra. What are the benefits and how much does it cost?
Great question. Cialis, Tadalafil, and Viagra, Sildenafil are game changer for men who want better performance, stamina, and confidence. They improve blood flow, support long-lasting performance, and help you feel like yourself again. And the best part, at Revitalize Clinic, we make it affordable. Less than $1 per pill. No overpriced prescription, no hassle, just real results, American-made, at the best prices in town. Plus, with early hours starting at 5:30 in the morning, we fit your schedule.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. That's 239-980-2302. Get results. Get confidence. Revitalize Clinic, because every man deserves to perform at his best without breaking the bank. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Okay, Ambient, let me ask you one question. Your hero, your god, the guy, Bo Nix, is selected to be the quarterback for the flag football team, and he blows his knee out. You're fine with that, okay? Because it's not physical. It's no big deal. You'd take that chance. Oh, so if it's your guy, then you have a problem with it. For whatever reason, David, the auto racing question's only up for 19 more minutes. I somehow hit an hour. I usually hit 20, so that one will be gone shortly.
Okay.
See, and that's where I disagree with you. I mean, it's not the player's choice. It's the owner's choice. He signed a contract with that owner.
Yeah, contractually, he's not allowed to do it. He has to get permission.
It's not the player's choice at
No,
all. If I'm the
it's
owner,
not.
it's my choice.
Now, if the player wants to negotiate that into his contract where he gets that power, but right now the standard contract, players have to negotiate that through management. Did you hear Larry Fitzgerald's comment?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm ready to help Marvin Harrison Jr. out whenever he wants. Problem is, his dad was better than me. I don't know about that, but Dad was really good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Our poll questions have poll questions today. Should the NFL allow their players to play flag football in the Olympics? Close to a 50-50 vote. The NFL is going to vote on it today at the owners' meeting. The commissioner wants the players to be able to play in the Olympics, wants the owners to give them the okay. They're also going to vote on straight playoff seeding today. Best record gets the 1, worst record gets the 7. 4 division champions guaranteed to make the playoffs, but you're not guaranteed home games and certain seeding. You're just guaranteed to be in the tournament. Are you okay with that? Yay or nay? NFL pushing for that as well. And then, since we have an IndyCar guest in a little more than an hour, Mark lashing out at me and asking, is auto racing a sport?
2/3 of you say that it is. Vroom, vroom, get him.
That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. We differ on the flag football, okay, but I think we also differ on the straight seating.
David, I didn't vote on that poll question because I really don't know how I feel. And I'm being serious. I looked at that question. I posted it on the break, and I post everything on Miller and Moulton, and then on my phone, I repost it under my personal account. And as I'm staring at the question, I don't know if I hate to do this because I do a sports talk show. I'm supposed to have an opinion on things. I don't know if I care one way or another.
Okay. And the reason that I'm against it, for what it's worth, is I don't believe all schedules are the same. And certain divisions are just tougher than others. So I don't necessarily want a second place team in a soft division who was able to, by, going 5-1, say, in their division, and then also having a softer schedule because their crossover divisions, the AFC South, while I had to play the AFC North or AFC West, I don't want them as a wild card, because they finished a game or two ahead of me, to get the home game at my expense. I had to win a division. I had to play a tougher schedule, and I understand that's not always the case, but with the unbalanced scheduling that we have in the NFL, it is very possible. And so and you know me, I'm a change guy, and I like boldness. I would vote to keep the status quo about the seating.
And I'm very much torn on this one. I think your points are all valid, but to counter it just with last year, I don't think the Minnesota Vikings played in a soft division.
No, I
think their division was every bit, if not far more difficult than Tampa Bay's division.
And they did finish, 4 games ahead of the Rams? I mean, they were 14-3, and the Rams, I think, won the division in a 10-7 tiebreaker with Seattle. Now, the Rams kind of mailed in their last game. Could the Rams have gone 11-6? Sure. But the Vikings' record was much gaudier than the Rams, and the Vikings had to go to Los Angeles in the wild card round of the playoffs.
But as David mentioned, the Rams mailed in week 18. What Rodgers trying to eliminate with this proposal are teams mailing in that last game of the season, putting more emphasis on week 18 because it was a dud last year. Just like the kickoff got changed. Why? We had all touchbacks in a Super Bowl.
Right.
Goodell said, this looks terrible. It's a bad look for our league. I need to change it. Week 18, when your team that represented the AFC in the Super Bowl was beaten 38 spit because they didn't care, he won. Now, that wouldn't have changed. They were the one. They would have mailed that game in anyhow.
Right. And as it turned out, last year's a bad example year in the NFC because the top 4 seeds were locked in. Washington was clearly ahead of Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and Los Angeles. So Washington was going to be the 4. It was going to be Detroit, Philly, Minnesota, Washington, your 1 through 4 seeds, and the others are just playing as to who's the 5, who's the 6, and who's the 7.
All right, time now for the coolest thing I've seen today. It's brought to you by the good folks at Air Advantage. If you're looking for a new air conditioning system, I don't think you could make a better choice. Simply the financing that they have available. 18 months, no interest, no payments. They're a proud Ream partner, and you can get a hold of them at 239-433-4635. That's 433-4635, or online at myairadvantage.com. I will go to the Knicks Pacers series and what happened following the Knicks elimination of the Celtics and how it's turned out to at least be something good has come out of it. Because a Pacers fan wearing his Pacers garb at MSG was attacked by a bunch of Knicks fans. His name's Hans Perez. He's a firefighter. And he was hit over the head with garbage, and then more garbage was piled on him as the Knicks fans acted like crazy fans, which we see far too much of in this world. But Pat McAfee tracked him down, put him on the show, and got Tyrese Halliburton on the show with the fan. And Halliburton is now flying this fan out for Game 4. He and a guest going to put him up, going to meet the team, going to be able to go to Game 4 as long as the fan can get someone to cover his shift. Hans Perez did say in the interview on the McAfee show, I got to get someone to cover my shift because he's supposed to work that day. I think that'll all get taken care of. Great job by Halliburton and McAfee, for that matter, of tracking down the fan. And he's an Indiana guy, so doing that for the Pacers fan and getting them to the game. That's the coolest thing I've seen today, and it's brought to you by Air Advantage. Visit them online, myairadvantage.com.
Great move by Halliburton, who doesn't always have the best of reputations, even amongst the players, because he's a trash talker. But I'll tell you what, I think the Knicks are being set up here by the national media. There's nobody picking the Pacers. Have they been paying attention? I mean, the Pacers stole one game against the Cavs. They did. That Game 2 game, they're down 7 under a minute to go. They stole that game. The Knicks stole 2. And the Celtics, like the Cavs, were banged up. People, now they're creating this Brunson versus Halliburton thing. Halliburton made the Olympic team. Brunson didn't. Halliburton was all NBA before Brunson. I mean, people dissing Tyrese Halliburton. That's
in big numbers. In big numbers, by the way.
Yeah.
Halliburton's not a superstar. Brunson is.
That's like going after Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves. What are you all doing? Now, it's not the Knicks that are doing it, but it's all the media, national media, acting in an embarrassing fashion, to be honest with you. Since January 1st, by the way, you want to take a look at records in the NBA? After they work things out for a couple of months and what have you, you want to take a look at records in the NBA? Yeah, the Pacers are behind the Oklahoma City Thunder in the last 4 or 5 months. I mean, people need to pay attention here. The Pacers beat the Knicks last year. Yeah, the Knicks are a little different. Pacers are better than they were last year. By the way, Pacers had 3 late fourth quarter leads on the Celtics last year in the conference finals before getting swept. I mean, Pacers have done more winning than the Knicks. Just had to get that off my chest. I think the Knicks are being set up here.
I think you're onto something. I think because they beat the Celtics.
Yep.
There seems to be this coronation that it's just going to be easy for the Knicks to get to the finals after this. And they obviously have lost to the Pacers in a series not too long ago. So I'm with you. I think it's going to be a terrific series.
I think
wouldn't be surprised at all if it goes 7. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until Pat Kirwan joins us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. By the way, 54% of you think the NFL should change how they seed their playoff teams and go just based on record. No currently, division champions are 1, 2, 3, and 4, no matter their record. 54% of you say, no, let's just go by best record. And 52% of you are against. Excuse me.
Bless you. Holy
Sorry
cow.
about that.
That came out of nowhere. Look at that.
I know. Couldn't hit the mute button. Sorry. 52% of you are against NFL players and the NFL allowing their players to play flag football in the Olympics. So
let me ask
votes,
you this. Oh, sorry.
Just close votes. Vote accordingly.
Let me ask you this question. And this is a tough one for you because you have a dog in the fight. But if you were to rank the 4 semifinals, the 2 hockey, the 2 basketball, as far as your interest or what will, and not even your interest, because you would probably put the Knicks at the top. But as far as what you think will be the best series, what you think is the most intriguing series, to what you think is the least intriguing series.
I hate to sound like a shill or a cop-out. I love these series. I mean, I really do. Now, I'm a goober and a big sports fan, but, listen, do I think, first off, and Mark, I believe in this. When Florida and Carolina, when they played 2 years ago, Florida had all the puck luck in that series. I mean, they won 4 one-goal games, 3 of them in overtime. One of those overtime games went 4 overtimes. I mean, they had all the puck luck in that series. That Carolina played them about as evenly as you can and then lost 4 spit. So there's a part of me that just wonders, is Carolina going to get some puck luck in this series that they got none of 2 years ago? So I have a feeling the Florida-Carolina series is going to go at least 6. I think the Oklahoma City-Minnesota series is going to go at least 6. I'm very interested in Dallas-Edmonton. It's a rematch of last year. Edmonton pulled the minor upset last year. This Dallas team, I know McDavid and, winning the cup. This Dallas team has to get over the hump just to get to the finals. This is not the same group that made the finals during the pandemic in 2020. This is a different team. They have lost the last 2 years in the conference finals. Last year, they had home ice, and they lost in the conference finals. And they were the better team. They were certainly the better roster, and they lost. So, I think that series is going to go at least 6. I think the only chance the Knicks-Pacers doesn't go 7 is if the Pacers win in 6, which I think is entirely possible.
This is one of the years in which the 4-letter network's got to work a little harder to sell their basketball series, because when you look at everybody not named the Knicks in basketball, there's nothing that gets people super excited. But Anthony Edwards against SGA for 6 or 7 games should be really damn good.
Also, Oklahoma City's got all this size. Well, Minnesota's got Gobert and Randall. Okay, Minnesota, you want to get physical with Minnesota? They'd say, bring it on, man.
So I'm trying to pick out, I'm with you. I'm interested in all of them. Living here, Florida gets a slight edge because we've invested time now over 3 years in the Panthers.
Right.
But out of the hockey series, just from a pure hockey standpoint, Edmonton and Dallas is fascinating to me. because of what you just talked about. Dallas has been expected to go to the Stanley Cup final now for, they're one of the favorites year in, year out. Here they are with home ice again in this series against Edmonton.
How many years have I picked them to come out of the West? Is this the fourth straight year I've picked them to come out of the West?
I don't know. You pick Dallas every year. I pick Colorado every year.
Right.
This year they played in the first damn round. It's like, really?
Yep.
Really?
But also, I mean, think about it. We have a chance at a rematch in the Stanley Cup Finals. A series that went 7 games, by the way, and was decided
3-1.
Right, and was decided 2-1 in Game 7. And we're a round away from having a rematch.
With the best player on the planet on one team. Connor McDavid is the best player in the sport. It's the one thing that hockey has going for it right now. I don't think the best basketball player on the planet is playing in the conference finals.
No, they got eliminated Sunday.
Right. But the best hockey player on the planet is playing.
Quick sidebar. Did you see Jokic's answer post-game? They lost. They got drubbed. He's sitting there, and they go, so, season's over. What does that mean? And did you see his answer? His answer was, it means a lot of beers over the next few days.
By the way, I wish I had the post in front of me, and it's my fault for not. I usually text it to myself. But something about Jokic and his teammates. Like, there's no one ever to accomplish what he's accomplished without having any help. He's never had, a first-team All-NBA player or a second-team All-NBA player, and I think a third-team All-NBA player as a teammate. They got to get him some help.
Yeah, it may be too late. They're up against it cap-wise. They spent, Jamal Murray got a max, yeah. But the Nuggets are coming under fire that they did not put enough around Jokic, who now, he was amazing this year. I think he should win MVP. He's not going to. SGA will, but best player on the best team, and who was terrific. But, come on. Jokic is the best player in the league. This is Jokic right now is going through what Michael went through. In which one year they gave it to Barkley and one year they gave it to Karl Malone. And we all knew who the best player of the league was. It was Michael Jordan. Come on.
And for Florida and Carolina, I see Florida in 6. I think it could be faster than that. And I know I've been pounding the table for Carolina. I thought if they played Toronto, they'd beat Toronto. I don't know if Carolina's D, which skates well and moves the puck well, but Florida loves to forecheck. Florida wins the hitting battles in games 1 and 2 to win games 6 and 7, if you know what I mean. They wear you down. And I don't know physically if Carolina can last a whole series. They will need to have the best goaltender in the series. Right now, he's been playing better game in out than Bobrovsky. He has. But he will have to continue at that level if Carolina has a shot against the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers won that last series against Toronto, and Barkov and Tkachuk didn't score in the last 3. They had 12 goals in those games, none of them by Barkov or Tkachuk in the last 3, 2 of which they won. The scoring production up and down the roster for Florida has been nothing short of amazing. Loved Maurice's comment when asked. I think at that time there were, I believe, 17 different goal scorers, and I think they may have added one since then. But Maurice asked about the goal scoring of his team, and he's, 17 guys have scored. What does that tell you? It tells me that there's 9 guys getting chirped a lot. We have 26 on our roster.
He gave an amazing answer to a question before Game 6 and was just asked about, leading the room and being a leader of men. And now a lot of coaches do this to deflect it from them. But he said, yeah, these guys are leading themselves. And he gave an example as to how, yeah, at this stage, they're running the team. I mean, they really are. You know, our job is to stay out of their way, maybe give them a few strategic pointers, but they're running the room at this stage. They really are.
And Marchand kind of said a similar thing. I thought an answer he gave after the game was right on when talked about the style that they play. And he said, you know, we've been working on this. And he goes, me lately. He goes, but they've been working on this style. They've been playing this style night in and night out for 3 years. This is the way the Florida Panthers play. And when I came here, I knew that. But for teams to try to just turn on that style of play in the postseason, it can't be done. And Florida relishes the postseason because it exemplifies the way they play in the regular season. Everybody else, for the most part, has to turn on playoff mode. It's why I'm so intrigued about Dallas and Edmonton, because I think Dallas plays a lot like Florida. They're not afraid to play a 200-foot take-the-body game all the time. What they will do with the speed of Edmonton remains to be seen in that series. But it should be 4 great semifinals. I don't know what one's the best one. Whatever one I rank to be the worst one will probably go 7 with a couple of overtime games.
I actually think the Knicks Pacers is going to be the best series. I just think the national media covering it are going to be obnoxious. And the Knicks, which should be a likable story. I mean, they didn't do, you know, the whole big 3 thing. They actually, you know, got a whole bunch of Villanova guys and brought in good to very good players. Okay. They didn't go with the great players. So they made, it's ironic. It could be Knicks T-Wolves in the finals. They made the biggest deal of the offseason. Randall and DiVincenzo for Karl Anthony Towns. Wouldn't it be something if both teams made it to the NBA finals after making a big deal? Maybe it would spur other teams in other sports.
Well, just in that sport. I mean, to be honest, it would show teams that deals can be good for both. I've never understood. You and I like a good old-fashioned trade. Good players for good players. Let's make both teams better. Every trade has to be considered a win. Every trade doesn't have to be a win. Both teams can win in a trade. And obviously we're seeing that with the Knicks and the T-Wolves because they're both still playing while many others are playing golf.
But I think it's going to be a terrific series. I really do. And the Knicks are offensively efficient. Indiana isn't necessarily. But the Pacers play at such a fast pace. And they're younger and more athletic than the Knicks. And will the officials let the Knicks put their hands on the Pacers? Because I don't think the Knicks can guard them unless they put their hands on them.
What's interesting, too, is that the Knicks, who have been out-rebounded, and you talked about the rebounds in the Celtics series and controlling the offensive glass, the Pacers are a terrible rebounding team. So I'm curious on how the glass is handled in this series between the two. So just kind of looking at all of them on the whole, we're getting ready for the semifinals. It's, you know, the basketball, I've always said that the basketball gets better as the playoffs go on. The hockey series have trouble because of the physicality. I think we have 2 great series in both.
The reason I think the Florida-Carolina series is going to be better than you think, I think Slavin is the best defenseman in the series, and he plays for Carolina. I think Slavin should have been a finalist for the Norris, and I think that Brind'Amour is going to play him 28-plus minutes a night. And so I think that that's something that Carolina hasn't necessarily had. They haven't had an absolute stud Hedman-type defenseman, and I actually think Slavin is. His play in the 4 Nations was amazing, how good he was. I also think, Mark, it's been a long time since Carolina had goaltending in the playoffs. I mean, they haven't had it. I could argue they haven't had it since Cam Ward won them the cup, to be honest.
I would totally agree with you, David.
And
totally.
And right now, Frederick Anderson is healthy. And when Frederick Anderson is healthy, he stops the puck. So Carolina may bring goaltending and the best defenseman in the series to the series. I think it goes at least 6.
I'm rooting for a rematch in hockey. I want to see Florida and Edmonton once again. I think Edmonton will get beat by Dallas. I think Florida will beat the Canes.
So we're both picking Florida, Dallas.
We are.
So bet the ranch on the Oilers is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Seems like the obvious pick, and you might even want to throw a shekel or two on the Canes. Miller and Moulton, still a couple of poll questions up. I put one up for too short a time. They're both about the NFL. Should the NFL allow their players to play flag football in the Olympics? And should they go to straight seeding for the playoffs based on record? We'll ask Pat Kirwan his thoughts on those two questions and more next.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Ambient, I understand what you're saying. They did win a title, and they had 6 really good players when they won a title. 2 of them are gone. Caldwell Pope is gone, and who was the other one? Bruce Brown? Okay, they're gone. And unfortunately, Murray can't stay healthy, and Porter is not. I mean, in game 1 against Oklahoma City, he scored 21. He scored 21 points in like the next 4 games total. Can't stay healthy. I mean, you have to admit the cast around him has gotten worse. They've gotten thinner. Murray can't stay healthy. He's not as good as he was 2 years ago. Okay, I would argue that Gordon is the same, but he's a glue guy. He's like Josh Hart to the Knicks. Porter's really let him down. I thought they gave Murray too much money. I thought they needed to keep Caldwell Pope, and they miss him.
Hi, Pat.
Good morning, boys.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Listening to your hockey conversation.
What happened to your Blades?
They can't score. In 2 games, they took 60 shots on goal. They have 1 goal.
Supposedly, those are the 2 best goalies in the league.
Yeah. Well, they both played great, but one game was 1-0, the other one was 2-1. It's not like they scored, but there's no chance they're going to go up to Quebec and stay alive.
You sure?
I am more than confident that if they can't score at home, how are they going to score on the road? I looked at that roster. I was up there with Brady for a tournament, and that beautiful stadium that no one plays. Isn't that where Denver moved from?
Yes.
Yeah, that stadium's gorgeous, and there's nothing in there. But now they're in there. Apparently, almost the entire team is from Quebec.
I guess it's the 4th year that the franchise has been in existence.
Yep. They're hockey starved up there, and they love it. And
yeah.
I couldn't believe the crowds they got for the little kids tournament. The finals, Brady's team got knocked out in the semis, but there was about 8,000 people there.
Well, if it's the one, there's one tournament up there. There's one Quebec junior tournament, like kids tournament. That's one of the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
That's probably the one.
They were in it. Yeah, the Pee Wee Quebec.
Yeah, that's people in hockey know about that tournament. It's certainly everywhere in North America, if not everywhere that plays hockey.
Yeah. Brady's team, they beat Czechoslovakia in the opening round. They were supposed to get their ass kicked, and they beat them. And then they beat Poland. You're right. There were teams from all over the world there. The real hockey started when Quebec and Montreal, they met those guys. It was pretty interesting, though, how the fan and a lot of old people like that have never missed it. I was talking to a guy. He said he's never missed going to it. He was like 80 years old. Yeah, but it's fun. I think it's fun for them that they have a team full of local guys and they're playing good. But you can score 1 goal on 60 shots. You tell me, David, is there a chance you're going to win and you can't score?
No, and they beat Norfolk the same way.
Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We're halfway home on this Tuesday, unless you live in Lake City, Live Oak, and surrounding areas, or Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Then this is the final hour of Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kirwan joining us once again on a Tuesday at 8 a.m. Eastern. He joins us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Pat, oftentimes one of the owners' meetings is the very busy owners' meetings, and the second one is not usually, but there's 3 at the very least big votes on the agenda today and tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you see it in the March meeting when they push it off and say we'll reconvene on this in May, which is what we're doing here, and we're going to end up talking about these things. Yeah, you take them in any order you want. I have some opinion on every one of them.
All right, well, let's start with the tush push. First off, do you think Raj got the necessary votes between March and now?
Yes, and they love using the safety card, and they definitely have been employing that one to get this done. And, to make it work, they changed that language so you can't assist any runner anywhere on the field, which is really the old rule. And apparently they intend on enforcing it. But I think Philadelphia is still going to be extremely successful with their sneak play anyway. But yeah, that's going to get passed. because they really, I love when they say they don't have enough data that there's people getting hurt. The Giants lost 2 guys on it. Kelsey, the center, has talked a lot about how dangerous it was. So they're not going to wait for a broken neck. They're going to get rid of it.
But part of it is the emphasizing of the rule that's already on the books. They're now going to say, listen, this fell under you can't assist the runner. We were wrong to allow this the last few years in the first place. But then, Pat, that also means that the offensive lineman can't have the 5-7 yard running start and push the pile once the ball carrier's tied up.
Right. And they're going to get rid of all of it. And now, I never thought and the reason they're doing it is so there's some level of consistency, and they're getting it by with the you can't assist the runner, which means anywhere. I never felt that the danger of the assist down the field because everybody was standing up. No one had their head down. The runner was still up. That's why he was available to be assisted. But they're going to get rid of it all, and which is fine. Here's what they're going to do. I think it's 33 years, right? David, you know the rules. 33 years since they called it, right? So they just decided not to call that rule. And I think you're going to see some level. We'll be talking about this on Mondays where, hey, that was an assist. They should have called that. But they're going to come in and say that the blockers were trying to knock the tacklers out on those downfield ones. But I'm glad they're getting rid of the tush push. I know too much about the injuries in rugby, and that was turning into the exact same reason. Rugby stops the game whenever those heads are all down like that. It's called a collapsed scrum, and they've had so many broken necks that they stopped the game immediately. And I think the NFL had done enough talking to the rugby people. They understand where the danger is. And Kelsey was pretty clear about how dangerous it is. So glad it's leaving.
All right, let's move on to the flag football. Pat, it's funny. We have David Samson on every Tuesday. He's a baseball guy and a really smart baseball guy. He used to run the Marlins. And when David and I would beat him up or try to beat him up about the World Baseball Classic being played during season and shut the season down, and you got to do that for the sport, he would just laugh at us. And I told him this morning that I apologized to him because there's no way that I would let my $500 million asset play in a flag football game for the Olympics. No way, no how. David would, I wouldn't. Where are you on this, Pat?
I would not. Now, the question's going to really be, can you prevent them from playing? And they're going to pass it because they think they need the NFL stars to promote flag football. I give you a lot of things. Like I would be using the retired players. Like Mike Evans will be retired by the time they have this 2028 Olympics. He wants to play in it. Those kind of guys, they're going to win the thing anyway. But I told you last summer, I talked to an owner, the Houston owner, and I said to him with his wife sitting there, I said, you know that your quarterback's contract is going to come due right about the Olympics, and he's going to want to play. And the wife jumped in and said, we would never let him do that. But now there's a lot of other things of why I don't want them playing. Injuries is number one. I'm on your side, Mark. But the rest of it is interesting. If you just look at what they're going to do, they're going to let one guy from 32 teams be eligible. So guess what? They're not all going to make it. So you're going to have guys not making the team. How embarrassing is that for them? And how furious are they going to be? But here's the things that, what are we going to do with our NFL players? Just play the Olympics? This group that's getting ready now is going on an exhibition series. We're not going to let the NFL guys, well, we wouldn't want them doing that. That's risk of more injury. So they're going to have a 5-game exhibition series this year. Australia, Canada, Germany, Israel, Japan. We're not going to have it with the NFL guys. What are we going to do about practice? What are we going to do about tryouts? Is there going to be a training camp? It's not just, here's your uniform, go win the gold medal. It doesn't work like that. So when the owners start to realize what the time and potential risk is, back to Mark's point, they're not going to be too thrilled with this. But I don't know if you're going to be allowed to write into the contracts that they're not allowed to play, which is what Mark just asked. I don't know that they're going to be allowed to do that. And if you lose a player, guess what? You lost your player. So what if you get cap relief? You just lost your starting quarterback.
But Pat, isn't the Pro Bowl flag football now? I mean, it's the
Oh,
same
they don't
damn
play
thing.
anything. They don't do anything. They play dodgeball now. And that flag football game, well, we talked about this. Remember when the New England guy went down with playing flag sand football? The New England running back,
Yeah,
he
that
never
was
really played again.
No, that was after the 96 season, Robert Edwards, a nice running back out of Georgia, and he really messed up his knee on the sand in Hawaii. And you're right. And that was the beginning of people going, I don't know if I should play in this game anymore. But
Well,
I just don't know the difference between the Pro Bowl and the Olympics, to be honest with you.
Well, let me tell you about when pros play against amateurs. And I'll give you a great example. They're going to bring it's about 500 undrafted rookies to camp. Do you want to know the number one fear of every front office and coach? Those guys, half of them don't belong on the field with NFL guys. And why am I worried? Because they're on the ground all the time. And the good players are falling over them. We cut those guys the second we started realizing he's not athletic enough to be out here. There are going to be teams in this flag football Olympics that are not athletic enough. And they're not going to look at, you know what's going to give them a great thrill? That German linebacker who knocks the living daylights out of, I don't know, Ashton Genty. They're going to be more contact stuff from the amateurs than the NFL people are going to want. NFL guys can handle being with each other. You start putting those guys, just like those college free agents, we would get rid of like 5 or 6 of them on the first day. And we'd tell them, if you're on the ground, you're going to be out of here. And I see the amateur status of most of these countries as dangerous for the NFL players.
All right. Last thing, because I'm in the minority here, to the two of you. So you wouldn't have let the dream team in 92 play hoops? Because those guys could have blown out their knees. They could have blown out their Achilles.
They're not playing against
They're not playing
football
football.
The rest of the world either.
Well, but
They're
the
playing
whole
active teams.
But you know, the rest of the world wasn't in our area code. I mean, Pat just went on eloquently about the other countries and they're not going to be good enough and the athletes on the ground. I mean, come on, we were playing Fiji and Angola and what have you. I mean, we beat them by 80.
I can't relate to a basketball question when it comes to talking about football, number one. Number two, we didn't need those guys to win that either. So to me, we could win the Olympics with the best college kids. We might even be able to win it with the best high school kids.
Give the UFL guys something to do in the offseason. There's plenty of ways.
But last for a vote here. I vote for retired NFL guys. The guys recently retired become the team. We'd all love watching Drew Brees throw to Mike Evans.
So, like, you want to? Okay, I'm sorry, Mark.
No, that would still accomplish what Goodell wants, I think.
Yes,
in keeping name guys out there. That's all I was going to say.
Well, and I do think you hit on it. The year 2028, the Summer Olympics, Mike Evans probably will have just retired. Tyreek will probably have either just retired or retired the year before, and he said he's interested. And you're right, and you could see where it's a Drew Brees, it's a Kirk Cousins. Hell, it could be Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, and we'd have the high-profile names. They're like legends of the game getting ready to go to Canton, Ohio, and they're going to stop over and play the Olympics. I think I would be really interested in watching that game.
Okay, fair enough.
And by the way, the only thing I would say, too, is, you made the basketball comment. I'll make the Four Nations. While we loved the Four Nations, Kachuk ended up sitting out the rest of the regular season. He's still not 100%, and the Boston defenseman was done for the season because of an exhibition tournament.
Right, and Chris Kreider was a shell of himself coming out of it, too. So, yeah, I mean, guys got hurt in that Four Nations. They did.
Can't you see Derrick Henry running for the winning touchdown against Japan? They won't catch him.
My goodness.
And I guess part of it is that I have no interest. I mean, they can put it on. I'd rather watch a baseball game than flag football at that time of year.
Yeah, I'm with you. Anyway, it'll solve itself. But when that owner in Houston looked at me and said, I hadn't even been thinking about that. Yeah, I said, well, I think about stuff like that all the time. And your quarterback's going to want to play.
Is this also coming from Raj, the flag football?
Yeah, the NFL loves flag football. This is how they're growing their fan base, and this is how they've engaged all the women in the love of the game. They're all playing. It's a varsity sport in a lot of states. The interest in football, because now for some of them, they're under the illusion that this is real football. They don't understand. It's flag football.
But not just at the high school level. I found out that my daughter's friends are now starting to play flag. They have,
Yep.
school leagues at the middle school level playing flag football. So I get your end from the women. I also think it's the global part of it. This is their way to expand worldwide and show the sport to the entire world. As Pat, you've pointed out many times, they're still trying to untap talent around the world. And this is a way to start that and continue that for the NFL. Miller and Moulton. He's Pat Kirwan. Pat joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers, with locations from Tampa to Key West. Pinchers, where you cannot fake fresh. And all of our guests appear on the American Paint Supplies hotline. American Paint Supplies, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. More with Pat coming up on the other side. The biggest vote to me that's happened at the owners' meeting we have still not touched upon. That's the reseeding and how they're going to seed teams in the playoffs. That's next with Pat. Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
Defining a new era in men's health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Bum, 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 bum.
Exactly.
Hey, it is cold up here, Mark. I'm not really happy I came back north.
Oh, you're in New York.
Yeah, I just got up here, and it's 48 degrees right now outside.
Ouch. Are you trying to get the lake house open this week?
I'm sitting here opening it. I got power washers going and putting the dock in and all that stuff. But I woke up to 48 degrees.
All of that yourself?
I have my buddy down the road here who used to work for me at the Jets. He's retired, and he's strong as an ox. Yeah, he likes doing it. And then he uses my boat whenever he wants, and he's tickled to death to do that. And when I'm not here, it's good to have someone around.
100%.
Yeah, especially like when there was 65-mile-an-hour winds, I guess, 2 weeks ago, and the guys who put their boats in early, some of them, the boats dislodged from the docks. They were out in the lake smashing into each other. You know, all that crazy stuff. So, yeah, and his name's Bill Roos. He's a great guy, and he's a football coach, and he doesn't know anything else but work every day. He's really quite funny.
Now, how far is the lake from where you live?
I mean, when I'm down in Jersey?
Yeah.
To here, it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad at all then.
No. My brother, Jim, I learned from him. He lived in the Chicago suburbs, and his house was on the northwest corner of Wisconsin, and it was 7 hours. I go, I wouldn't go a lot. This way, I get up. I get up at like 3 a.m. and I drive. I'm up here at 5:30 at the latest. Stop for coffee, and then I'm here for whatever, a couple days.
Yeah, that's about perfect.
Yep.
When I was a kid, like my grandparents' cottage was no more than an hour away. We were there every weekend.
Yeah, that's when you're going to use it, when it's reachable. And
I know there's a lot of people in Michigan that are the same way. They got the 3.5 hour trek. It's fine, but I mean, you see that you would see, the traffic on Fridays on the interstates of everybody trying to get up north. It's just crazy.
No,
that 3.5 turns into 4.5.
That could be because you got to get through the metropolitan area here, so it could happen. But that's why I always leave at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm up anyway. I just wake up and go. But my grandkids are getting old enough that soon they're going to be driving, and they're going to want to come up here, and I didn't want it to be too far away for them. They like coming here. They're already talking about driving up with their buds.
Oh, there's my buddy had a cottage about an hour and a half from us, and he would bring me and another guy every weekend. And it all started, Pat. This is old money, and I'm not of old money. He was. But old money in Saginaw had these cottages on Higgins Lake, which was about an hour and a half away. Beautiful lake. And there was 3 different little developments. And they had a dining hall where you go eat 3 squares a day. Yep. But on Sundays at 11 in the morning, and there was only 2 of the 3 things that participated when I was around, but they played softball, 11 a.m. Sunday morning. No matter how hungover or drunk you were from the night before, you had to show up at softball. And that's why we were brought up to make the team better for Cottage Grove against Lakeside.
Oh, yeah.
I've never had more fun in my life. All the old people would come watch these softball games. There'd be like, 100, 150 people there. And if you made a good play, you're at lunch, they're giving you a tap on the shoulder. And we're like, it's a softball game, for crying out loud. But never did I have more fun than in my early college years going up there and doing that.
Yeah. And well, we don't have the softball, but what I built in the backyard a horseshoe pit with lights. So when the bar's closing at midnight, they come on over and they play horseshoes till dawn. That's fun.
Outstanding.
Yeah. It's like, and some guys have a briefcase with like stainless steel horseshoes. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Lots of fun. We still get together and play wiffle ball up against the brick wall at the high school.
Nice.
I love wiffle ball.
Oh, it's the best.
Yep.
Throw those 6-foot curveballs that come down into the strike zone.
Yeah. Way outside in, it makes the box,
Right.
But we like to have a little bit of a fence out there so you can poke one over.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
With Pat Kirwan for another 10 minutes on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat joining us twice a week for a little while longer, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. And Pat and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies hotline. All right, the other big vote expected to go down today or tomorrow, the redoing of the seeding, where all 4 division champions are guaranteed a playoff spot, but you are not guaranteed a home game. 4 best records are going to get at least 1 home game. And as they do now, they will reseed after the first round so that the 1 seed can face the worst possible team in their divisional game. Pat, where did this come from? We thought this was never going to happen.
Well, I think it's come from Roger. Roger, if you really look at the things that are always on Roger's mind, like get rid of the Pro Bowl and anything preseason games, doesn't like those, doesn't like the Pro Bowl. And I think he doesn't like teams with 10 wins getting a home game while a team with maybe 12 or 14 wins doesn't. So if you just looked at last year, 3 teams would have gotten a home game that were not eligible now. The Chargers would have got a home game, the Vikings and the Commanders. They would have all gotten home games because their records would warrant them being a top 4 team. And that would have bumped maybe Houston down. There were 3 guys tied with 10, and it would have bumped the Rams and Tampa Bay, the road teams. So what does Roger think? Roger thinks this is even a better way of insisting that the week 18 games and someday maybe the week 19 games are going to be for something special. And you think about it, Philadelphia is the 2 seed with 14, and Detroit was going to be the 1 seed and all that stuff. You're going to land up. In his mind, in my conversation with him, he thinks we'll be playing. There'll be more teams trying to play for something in the last 2 weeks, which is always part of how he sees the game. Hates things that are not good looking. And as I said, the Pro Bowl was one of them. And so this to him is another one. So I think it's going to go through.
What changed with the owners, though, Pat? For the longest time, we've discussed this with you, I don't know, 8-10 times over the years. And one of the things you always said, Pat, is that the owners were adamant that if you win your division, you host a playoff game. So for, to get 24 votes, quite a few owners had to change their minds on this. What was the change, or is this just pressure from the league office?
Well, I think the way the league office creates pressure, they obviously can't tell these owners what to do. But I have a feeling, this will be right up David's alley, I have a feeling the way they present it to the owners is the more meaningful we can make the games in week 18 and 19, the better the TV ratings, and then maybe more TV partners. They always are going to go back to how to create more revenue in order to get the owners to do anything. And to me, if you think, in theory, you can make those last 2 weeks even more important, and there's a lot of guys that are fight. Look at the wins totals. Like last year, 15 Kansas City, 13 Buffalo. They weren't going to catch them, but Baltimore at 12, Buffalo at 13, the Chargers at 11. If you think you're going to be able to create, and this is an opinion question to David, if you think you're going to create better games in the last 2 weeks, the way to go to the owners is tell them about TV ratings and a new TV partner that want to pick up those games. You might land up selling those games pretty expensively.
I got to be honest, Pat. I don't think this is going to influence a dollar. When they go to an 18th game, the CBA is going to get torn up, okay?
Yep.
And if nothing changed, I think all the networks were going to pony up whatever it took, and they're not going to pony a dime less or a dime more if they change the whole playoff seeding. I don't. I think these networks are going to just, basically the league's going to tell them, if you want to keep your package, this is how much. It was $2 billion before, it's $3 billion now. Okay. And they're just going to do it and hand it over. And I don't think this is going to make a bit of difference. Here's the other thing. Imagine you're an owner in the AFC or NFC South. Let's be brutally honest. I know things can be cyclical, but those 2 divisions have been the worst divisions for a while now. I mean, we've joked about it. You win that division, that's the 4 seed. Why would they vote for this? Why would those 8 owners vote for this?
Well, I told you why I thought they were, and you don't think they're going to do it for that reason. But I know Roger, he's a pretty good work behind the scenes guy. He does not like the look of the last 2 weeks. It's not getting the desired effect. It got better when we made them all those division games. It absolutely got better, but it didn't get better across the board. And there's a lot of bad games. And there's a lot of the season's over, and I'm resting guys. I don't think he likes that either. And I say Roger as it represents the league, but there's other guys that don't like that. You get to rest your players, and they want you playing. They don't want Mahomes in street clothes watching the game because they've already locked up the 1 seed. They like, in theory, that you had to defend and figure out, and if you're 2 games ahead, then you won't catch them. But they like the idea of real good football all the way through.
Let's just say a division team's 12-5 and a wild card team's 12-5, and they have the same conference record and they didn't play. Is a division champion gonna get the tiebreaker over a wild card, or is it going to be conference record and our normal tiebreakers? I would want to know that. If
they have to know that today, and I'm with you. I don't know the answer to your question. I would assume they're going to talk about their standard set of tiebreakers. But I'm with you on that. And how is that going to affect this thing, and how are they going to do it? Like we have now, example, the teams that got bumped to spots 5, 6, and 7 in the AFC, if we had this last year, were going to be Pittsburgh, Denver, and Houston. All of them had 10 wins. Okay, so they're going, and Houston was a division champ, but they're not getting a home game in this system. Well, Pittsburgh beat Denver. So that's one way to break that tie, but Houston didn't play either one of them. And that'll be your direct question. How are we going to sort out Pittsburgh? We know Pittsburgh will be ahead of Denver because they beat them head-to-head, but where is Houston set up in that thing?
Well, I do think logic would take over there, and a division winner should be the first tiebreaker, but we shall see. Pat, Brock Purdy, we've not talked to you about the Purdy deal.
Yeah.
The 5-year, $265 million extension. Your thoughts on the money Purdy received? And I think we just lost Pat.
I think we did too.
I mean, I still see that he's here, but something happened to the microphone as I was asking the question. Now,
You see, I hear you.
now we got you, Pat. Your thoughts on the Purdy contract?
Yeah, quickly. Well, first off, it's a 6-year deal, right? They're holding on to the money that he was due. So if you really like to cheapen the deal, you call it $45 million a year for 6. But it's a $53 million deal. And my only question is, did you have to pay him that much to secure his services? And as I said to you on this show a couple of times, I was not going to do a deal with him until I saw him throw a camp for 2 weeks, because that elbow is still a question to me.
Why couldn't they tag him next year?
Yeah. I think I get why you want to do a deal with him, but I don't know that I had to go to this. Now, I had guys it's only really a 45 deal. Yeah, okay. But, spreading a bonus out, you can't do it over 6. You got to do it over 5. So there's some issues here. He's going to see a lot of new money. And did you have to pay him that much? I don't think he did. But at least they offered and signed a young guy. When you look at their contract book, which I do, and you start looking at the age of Trent Williams, he'll be 38 next year. Kittle's going to be 33. Warner's going to be 30. McCaffrey's going to be 30. You start thinking about that. Bosa's going to be just about 30 during the season. So, those are your heavy hitters financially. And they're all going to be in their 30s, except for Purdy. So it's an interesting time there, trying to figure out how to stay young. And they've got cap space right now. But I looked at their dead money. Debo's hitting the cap for $34 million. 12% of the cap's going to Mr. Debo.
He's Pat Kirwan. You can listen to him weekdays 3 to 7. He co-hosts Moving the Chains on NFL Radio, and he joins us once again courtesy of Pinchers on the American Paint Supplies hotline.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or NolanAgency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymade.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, what is it you want to ask?
David, I'll let you go, and I've got it. I've got the basic gist of it. I'll do what I can here.
Okay.
I mean, I would ask why they don't throw them out of the race. If they're cheating, why are they racing? He already reposted it, so there's no chance of him not answering this morning.
Right. Logic Man, who was at Hertz?
Oh, Coed and Cambria are very good. I saw them at one of those rock fests years ago. They had at JetBlue.
It's interesting. He's coming to Hertz. He always used to play. What's the theater in Fort Myers?
Barbara B.
Yeah.
He is on. I'm curious, what do Brit Floyd tickets cost? Because I heard they do a great show, but you are going to see a cover band that plays huge arenas. It makes very little sense to someone like me. And I understand from what everybody says, they're terrific. It's a cover band.
Right. Like Backstreets was Springsteen's cover band forever, but they didn't play big arenas.
Right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Want to spend a few minutes talking about a big story leading up to the Indy 500. John Oreovicz has covered IndyCar racing since the 90s. You can follow John on X at Indy Oreo, R-O-R-E-O. John, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
Well, good morning. If I was outside, I'd be pretty wet right now. So we're hoping for a little nicer conditions on Sunday up here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I've seen conflicting forecasts. I hope it works out. It's going to be packed. Okay. So Penske Racing apparently they modified a part. You're not allowed to do that. And the cheating scale of 1 to 10, John, how big is this?
I mean, the modification to the car itself is a 1 or a 2, but the optics and the perception of Team Penske bending the rules in a series that's owned by Roger Penske at a racetrack that's owned by Roger Penske, and a light bit of discipline from the Penske Corporation from one arm of it to another, it just leaves a bad taste in the mouth. Team Penske is held to a higher standard, whether it's fair or not, than other racing organizations. And this is the second high-profile instance in the last 14 months or so that Team Penske has been caught with their hand in the cookie jar. And the fan base, and especially the other competitors in the IndyCar series, are reaching their limit of their patience for the fact that the Penske organization just seems to get away with everything.
So because this, as you said, is a 1 or a 2 on the cheating scale, this was never something that would lead to them not being able to race. I mean, just from the outside, I'm not an IndyCar guy, but when someone's cheating, we just had a baseball guy take PEDs, 80 games. When you cheat, you get suspended. Why no suspensions?
Well, I think that's the question that people outside the Penske organization are asking. I mean, there's been some suspensions within the Penske racing team. Tim Cindric, the team president, and Ron Ruzewski, the strategist on one of the cars, they've been suspended, as they were last May for the 500 after the first cheating scandal, which was more serious because it involved the drivers. It involved drivers, mainly Joseph Newgarden, illegally using something that shouldn't have been on the car. So there was fault with the team for leaving it on the car, and there was more fault with the drivers for using something that they knew they shouldn't have been using. This is something completely different. I mean, the best thing I can describe this as is if you imagine the seam on the door, between the doors on your car, just imagine putting a piece of tape over it so the wind wouldn't catch it. And this is at the very back of the car on a little tiny part. So let's be clear. This modification was not the reason the Penske cars were fast or that Joseph Newgarden won the Indy 500 last year. But the bottom line is they got caught cheating. And I think the rest of the paddock feels that the punishment hasn't fit the crime to date.
John Oreovicz, who's covered IndyCar racing since the 90s, is kind enough to join us. Follow him on X at Indy Oreo. Indy, INDYOREO. Listen, Chip Ganassi lambasted Roger Penske and Penske Racing yesterday. Graham Rahal went scorched earth. I don't ever recall Indy Racing. Like you said, he owns the series. He owns the track. He basically owns the race. And it sounds like, John, they really, at the very least, wanted these guys thrown out of the race on Sunday so that they would have had to have qualified, at the last minute to get back in the race?
Well, the bigger problem here is the fact that these Penske cars, I mean, there was a lot made yesterday about the fact that a bunch of people went over to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum and they took pictures of this part on the car that won the Indy 500 last year. And the car that's in the museum has the illegally modified part on it. So the overarching concern about all of this is the fact that it took until Sunday afternoon for IndyCar technical inspection to discover this, when it's clearly been going on for at least a year. Again, not that it was creating a major performance advantage for the car, but at the same time, I think Chip Ganassi really summed it up well yesterday. I think it demonstrates that within the Penske organization, the desperation to win, whether it's the Indy 500 or any other race, has exceeded the organization's ability to play fairly and protect the integrity of the sport. And I think that's why everybody's so up in arms right now is that there just seems to be a pretty cavalier attitude about all this coming out of the Penske side.
Help me out here. Don't cars have to pass a post-race inspection?
Yeah, and that's the concerning part. These cars have apparently been running this way for a year or more, and it wasn't caught until 48 hours ago.
Now, can Joseph Newgarden, Will Power, they've moved to the very back of the field? Can they realistically, I mean, they're world-class drivers in world-class cars. Can you still win the Indy 500 from the 11th row?
Well, the answer is yes, and that is because the Penske cars, whether or not they have this, 2-cent modification on it, are fundamentally fast. And the drivers are fundamentally some of the best in the series. But I can tell you that these guys, more than ever, they're not going to catch a break from their fellow drivers in terms of cooperation, letting them through. They've really put a mark on their backs through this. They've made themselves the bad guys. And yeah, clearly these guys can win. I don't believe the 500 has ever been won from 33rd before, from last place on the grid. But it's a long race. There are a lot of pit stops. There are a lot of opportunities for strategy calls. There's a lot of opportunity for luck to come into play in a 500-mile race compared to a typical 200-mile race. So it's certainly not out of the question. But I wrote an essay after last year's Indy 500 in which I basically said that Newgarden winning left a very sour taste in my mouth. And I can tell you that if a Penske car wins the Indy 500 this year, I get the feeling there's going to be more boos and cheers at the end of the race.
And that would be disappointing. I mean, Newgarden could be the first guy ever. They've been running this race for nearly 110 years to win 3 in a row. It's never been done before. And you're telling me if he does it, there'll be more boos than cheers?
Well, what I'm saying is that from my perspective, given the events of the last 48 hours, there's already an asterisk on at least one of his 2 Indy 500 victories to date. They've both come under very controversial circumstances. The first one came when a red flag was displayed for the first time in the history of the race, stopping the race with 2 laps to go and leading to a shootout. And then last year, where there's the stigma of the fact that, in all likelihood, it looks like Newgarden was running a car that had this illegal part on it. I'm one of the people that puts an asterisk on Elio Castroneves' win in 2002 because I'm convinced that Paul Tracy was actually ahead in that race before the crucial yellow flag flew. And if you want to go back to 1981, there's another Penske win that has an asterisk on it. The one that between Bobby Unser and Mario Andretti that went through the courts until October. So this... It's a disturbing trend for IndyCar racing. Penske keeps winning the Indy 500, and it's never clean and simple, it seems.
John, finally, and what has gone down in the last 48 hours is a shame because from afar, place is sold out to the point where they've lifted the local blackout. You get a rookie on the pole. His story's amazing. Formula One couldn't kick him out fast enough. And first rookie on the pole in 42 years. Kyle Larson trying to do the double again. I mean, there was a lot of really good mo before Sunday, wasn't there?
Well, there's no such thing as bad publicity, I suppose. And let's face it, the Indy 500, it's not the juggernaut that it was 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. It's still, the biggest car race in America and one of the biggest sporting events in the world. But, they've kind of struggled for relevancy, and I'm sure this isn't the way they wanted to get themselves in the headlines, but they've certainly put themselves there now.
John, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate your insight. John Oreovicz, who's covered IndyCar racing since the 90s. You can follow John on X, Indy Oreo, INDYOREO. John, thanks so much and have a great weekend.
Always a pleasure, guys. Stay warm and dry.
John Oreovicz. It's a big story. It's out there, particularly in the markets that this show airs. The Indy 500 does very well. Where Mark is sitting right now, Southwest Florida is always a top. If it's a bad race, Southwest Florida is like in the top 7. All right. Normally, Southwest Florida is in the top 5 for ratings for this race.
Well, as long as they're still singing Back Home Again in Indiana, David, it's all good to me.
See, he died. There's no Jim Neighbors anymore. Okay.
They still sing it. They've been singing it every year since 1946, David. Just because Jim Neighbors died doesn't mean they don't sing the damn song.
But it's not the same. Okay. It's not. All right. But you're right. It's like my old Kentucky home at the Derby. It's true. But all right. There you go. That's it. I just wanted, it's a big story. Okay, Indy 500, one of the 2 big races in our country. I just wanted to do 8 minutes on it.
Miller and Moulton. If you miss any of the show, you can download it at millermoulton.com. I would imagine this hour will get a lot of downloads throughout the day with all the IndyCar fans that are out there, because 65% of you today said you considered auto racing a sport. So you won. You won.
Oh, boy. Show got off to a lively start if you missed the first hour. Okay. A lot of passive aggressive going on between Miller and Moulton today.
By the way, the no's are winning 60-40 in the flag football vote. But the straight seeding for the playoffs based on record, no is winning in a absolutely close vote, like 51-49. So the audience torn on the playoff seeding, a little more decisive on the other poll questions that we've had today. So how much of the Indy 500 will you watch?
Oh, you know me. I love the Indy 500.
Do you watch the whole race, or do you watch the start and then kind of do some stuff and then come back at the end? Or are you plopping down and watching, what is it, 3 hours worth of racing, roughly?
Yeah. I usually watch the first hour for sure. And then, we'll see how it's gone. If the racing's been any good, then I stick around. So, but yeah, they got me. They got me for the first hour. Absolutely. And then I always watch the end. So they get me for at least an hour and a half. First hour, last half hour minimum.
If I remember, I like to watch the first lap. That's if I remember. But other than that, the start of any race is pretty cool.
I got to admit, I'm a little taken aback at the whole, should the NFL allow their players to play flag football? 60% no. I mean, is this all fear of injury? I mean, what the heck? I mean, seriously? When's the last time you heard of somebody like having blowing out a knee or an Achilles, an elite athlete playing flag football? I mean, come on now. You'd have to admit the odds are staggeringly small.
I don't know about that, because I don't think that when they play their little Pro Bowl game that they're trying. I think they're going through the motions in the Pro Bowl game.
Yeah, it's fair.
When you wear your country's jersey, you are obligated to give it your all. And what Pat said, I think, is a possibility. A player from another country making a name for himself, trying to disrupt one of the best football players in the world. Also, to me, we've talked about this for years. And maybe this is the NFL. The NFL does pretty well with women. They must not think they're doing well enough because the Olympics are for women. They're not for men. They don't put it on television to attract a male audience. So now where are they going to put flag football, David? Is NBC going to put flag football in prime time instead of gymnastics? When are they going to fit this in? When are they going to play it? How much is the network going to try to make football a huge part of the Olympics?
I guess we'll see.
Basketball is a big part of it, but it's
And-
not as big as gymnastics.
No. It will be interesting to see where will this rate. Where will the network, and then also that will go into scheduling. Where is it they will schedule it, and how much of it will we watch? We used to watch a lot of boxing in the Olympics. You don't get any of it anymore. At least not on the main channels in good time slots. Miller and Moulton. Missed any part of the show? Go to millerandmoulton.com. The bonus hour is next.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Rheem Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. I feel tired, sluggish, and just not myself. I'm gaining weight, my energy is low, and I've lost my drive. Could it be low testosterone?
Absolutely. Testosterone naturally declines over time, but you don't have to accept it. Low T can affect your energy, strength, mood, and focus. But here's the good news. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, can help restore your vitality and get you back to feeling your best. Imagine waking up strong, sharp, and energized, ready to take on the day like you used to. At Revitalize Clinic, we specialize in physician-guided, American-made TRT designed just for you.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. Feel like yourself again. Testosterone replacement therapy, because your best years aren't behind you, they're just getting started. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David, do you think I can run the 7:38 segment Monday? The series will have all started. We kind of went through all the series. Is that a little much, or should I rerun the IndyCar on Monday? They've already ran the race, though, right?
Yeah, we did a segment yesterday that somebody really liked. A few people thought.
Well, I've got yesterday's baseball segment with Laura on there at 7:38. I just need one more 38 segment. And I was going to run the playoff preview one because I've got to get that in today. I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here.
Okay. Yeah. Do it.
I'll bury it in the 6. My daughter's last day of school is Friday.
Well, that makes sense. Right before Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this Tuesday. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It is, by the way, we started a thing during our first act. We do magic numbers. We wait until the college football magic number is in double digits and the NFL magic number is at 100. That day has become the day after Memorial Day. Next Tuesday will be 100 days for the NFL until the Eagles host the Cowboys. The Tuesday after Memorial Day. 100 days. But that does make today, for what it's worth, Mark, 100 days till that first Thursday night leading into Labor Day weekend. We don't count week 0. There's 4 games scheduled, only one involving 2 power conference schools facing one another. It's a game over in Ireland. I think it's a Big 12 game. Okay, but 100 days from today is South Florida hosting Boise State, which is getting the ESPN treatment, by the way. Interesting kickoff time, 5:30.
Could start at 5:30. Could start at 8.
All right, but it's because they got a double dip and they want a 9 o'clock game also on ESPN that Thursday night. But there are 16 games 100 days from today to kick off Labor Day weekend, the college football season in earnest. it's a much bigger first Thursday schedule, Mark, than I think we've ever seen before. I don't remember 16 games on that first Thursday before.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
I don't either.
Yeah. UCF is one of them. I think they host like Jacksonville State. Did you see the news involving UCF yesterday financially?
I did not.
So UCF, as it turned out, received $21 million from the Big 12.
Right.
All right. Well, they were only getting like $9.5 million from the AAC. So,
and that's not, is that their full stipend, or is that they're still not at the full Big 12 stipend yet, right?
I don't believe so. No. Okay. No. Okay. This also was like Texas's last year in the Big 12. This is for like 2020, three, if you will. All right. UCF, BYU, Cincinnati, and Houston agreed to receive half shares of revenue in their first 2 seasons. They don't get a full share of revenue, Mark, until this year, the 25-26. Because also TV money, while we don't count it, it includes basketball. It includes other sports. So, basically you get your check a year late, oftentimes, from some of these conferences. But, UCF got around 21 million first year in the Big 12 money. They were getting 9.5 from the AAC, but they still are paying the $18 million buyout. I think they had 2 $9 million payments. So they don't net much more money their first year or two in the Big 12.
How successful thus far would you deem UCF's entrance into the Big 12 being?
Not very.
Well, all right, let me ask it to you this way. How much have they either exceeded or been beneath what you think their own expectations are of what, not their fans' expectations, but their expectations of what they would do thus far in the conference?
I think they've underachieved. I think they thought when they hired Gus Malzahn that they would hit the Big 12 and they would hit the Big 12 running and they would hit the Big 12 as a bowl team and do better every year. I mean, we talked about this when Texas and Oklahoma were leaving the Big 12. And we said, okay, this may take a few years, but between 2030 and 2035, if you give UCF and Houston and Cincinnati 5 years to make the jump and adjustment and finally get full money, etc., where do you think UCF is going to be at the end of this decade in the Big 12 hierarchy? And let's face it, what's the sport that counts? Football.
They have 2 cupcakes to open their season. They have a bye week before they host North Carolina.
Yep.
How big would it be for UCF to beat Belichick week 3?
I think it's going to be very big because also North Carolina is going to play Labor Day night. And then North Carolina, I think, has 1 or 2 cupcakes where they're not going to be on national television. And I think there's going to be a push, all right, unless Belichick has hurt all of his, value here in the last couple of weeks. I mean, Mark, we thought Belichick was going to get close to the Dion treatment year 1 at Colorado. Now, is he still?
I think so. And particularly if they beat TCU in that first game. Winning solves all problems, David. Winning makes the girlfriend go away. Winning makes everything go away.
If they beat TCU, it figures that North Carolina will enter Orlando, 3-0?
And UCF will be 2-0.
And I believe it's a Friday night game. So
I've got it as Saturday, September 20th, but
okay. All right. But I would think somebody's going to pick that up. It may be like FS1 or something like that, but I would think somebody's going to pick it up.
Absolutely. So I'm waiting for UCF to break out because I'm with you. This has not been what we thought it would be for UCF.
No, we thought the football program would be better. Now, I'm not saying that we thought that they would have a breakthrough the way Colorado had their breakthrough last year, the way obviously Arizona State had their breakthrough last year. I don't know that we expected that quickly, but they're a lot further away right now, Mark, than I thought they'd be, a year plus into this.
And for the most part, they've lost all the close games. I know they've won a couple, but they've had so many opportunities. Whether it was last year, and I want to say it was at Iowa State, was a close one that they probably should have. The year before, they had a game that they blew that would have gotten them into a bowl.
35-10 third quarter lead against, was it Baylor at home? And they lost, and it wasn't a great Baylor team either. So, yeah, I'm with you. Listen, we thought Gus was really going to work. We thought Gus was going to have them by now. I think you and I both thought like last year, they'd have an 8-4 type season, right?
I thought they'd at least be a bowl team. They were 2-7 in conference last year.
Yeah. So, no, I think they've, Johnny Dawkins, listen, it's tough to be a basketball program in the Big 12. It is. But, Houston obviously is saying, I don't know, wasn't that tough? But
Houston was an elite basketball program before entering the conference.
Right.
But UCF was a good basketball program before entering the conference. They were making the tournament. They had some pretty good teams there.
And they had some good wins last year. He's won some games at home. But overall, they're still in the bottom part of the conference in hoop.
And unfortunately, they're in the bottom part of the conference in football. And that's all that matters. And they've got that game. I mean, for them, they had North Carolina. Then they go to Kansas State, who's, pretty good team in that conference. Then they host Kansas. That's a pretty good little 3-game stretch to figure out where you are in the Big 12 quickly. They're going to be 2-0 entering that 3-game stretch. Can they get out 4-1 and win 2 of the 3? Ooh, that would be something.
They need to. Scott Frost back, I mean, there's no way you're a UCF fan and you don't believe that Scott Frost is the answer. Even with his Nebraska experience, you're like, yeah, we're a different animal. He knows how to win here.
But they're entering the territory now. And I'm not saying that they're Florida State, Florida, or Miami. But now you're in a big boy conference. Your fans are expecting something out of you. Mm-hmm. There's now pressure to win, and they've not done it yet. So I just, another interesting year for UCF.
Can they go 4-5 in conference? Because in theory, with the 2 cupcakes, that should get them to 6. And if they win the North Carolina game, then that's a 7-5 season. That would be a good starting point, I think, for Scott Frost.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
But do we think, based on how they've played in conference these last couple of years, do we think they can?
Well, they've had the same problem that we talk about with the team in Miami on Sunday. They weren't tough enough for this conference. They were getting run over.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to get better at the line of scrimmage. The Big 12 likes to run the football, and they haven't been able to stop it. So just as you brought up the start of the college football season, for whatever reason, it got me thinking about UCF more than the other schools in state.
There are a couple of interesting coaching scenarios, as someone pointed out in our Twitch chat room. Remember, Rich Rod's back at West Virginia, Scott Frost back at UCF, and Rich Rod back at West Virginia. Can what's old be new again? So we'll see. But just wanted to relay the money. We talk a lot about the money, and you see the difference. Even getting a half share. They were getting almost $12 million more than a full AAC share. Now they're still paying off the AAC buyout, but beginning this coming sports year, that 21 million should be well over 40 for UCF. Okay, now we're talking.
Can that buy you a quarterback? By the way, not only are the NFL having votes going on this week, but the college world, they're trying to figure out this 20 million and how that's going to be spent. Now the Power Four conferences coming up with more legislation. We'll talk about it next. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
With summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floormeisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floormeisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floormeisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I just saw it, Ambient. Thank you. look it, guys, this is political people grandstanding. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. It's not worthy of a mention.
Yeah, there is a fascinating thing going on in the Big Ten right now, in which, for whatever reason, a lot of Big Ten schools and fan bases hate the noon kickoff.
Yes, they hate it. They all do.
But you know how popular Big Noon had become just a
I
few
understand,
years
but
ago.
from a fan standpoint of going to the game, unless you live in Columbus, Ann Arbor, East Lansing, Madison, you're driving to these games. Most people for a college football game want to get there a few hours, if not several hours before. So if you're going from Detroit to East Lansing, that means you're leaving at 6:30 to get there, to proper time. That's what the complaint is.
No, I get it, but I mean, it's
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts, a pick or two, all coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Seth Everett, among those who will join us on the show tomorrow.
So I'm guessing you caught this. Maybe you didn't, David, but Ross Dellinger penned an article last night around 9 p.m. And it talks about what the Power Four conferences are now trying to implement. It all started at the beginning of May in Tennessee when the governor signed a state bill that paves the way for state schools and their affiliated collectives to break House settlement-related rules and prevents college sports' new enforcement entity from penalizing those schools. So the conferences are fighting back. And apparently officials from the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC are working on a document intended to prevent universities from using their state laws to violate new enforcement rules, require schools to waive their right to pursue legal challenges against the new enforcement entity, the College Sports Commission. It even goes as far to say that they can throw teams out of the conference for not following these rules. If Tennessee wants to spend more, the SEC could throw them out based on what the original or based on what they're talking about with these documents. Now, we all know how well the NCAA is done in court, David. But this isn't the NCAA. This is the conferences trying to rein in their member schools and getting them to play under the same rules. This is the first time I've seen anything where the conferences are taking the lead and trying to, I guess, control costs in some way, shape, or form.
Yes. I think we don't know if legally can they. I mean, don't you think this will also get challenged? That there will be some state, there will be some attorney general in which college football means enough to them that they will pursue this and see whether or not they have to listen to the conferences, or does the state legislature override the conferences? And it is ironic also because when NIL was first happening, Where was it first happening? It was happening in the state legislatures. Remember the fight between states to legalize, if you will, if not even help subsidize NIL?
Oh, absolutely. And then other states were voting on, could you give NIL to high school athletes? Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, and what this, the House settlement's they are trying to move this away, that we have one set of rules, but we're not all playing in the same conference. There's no commissioner in college football. I know they want a czar of the sport. What type of power will that czar have if they're ever able to put one in?
Obviously, neither one of us is a lawyer, and we are entering uncharted territory that has not been covered by one of the 250 law and orders that are out there. However, what is it that you and I both think? We don't think that this agreement that they're desperately working to pass with the federal judge, we don't think this is going to hold up in court. It's going to take 2 to 3 years, but that someone's going to just argue before court and go, you're limiting the amount of money these kids can make. You can't do that. See the Supreme Court circa 2022 or 23, whenever it was. Well, help me out here. Wouldn't this also limit their income?
I'm not sure. What they are talking about with this is basically their clearinghouse that they've put, with this House settlement, they're trying to put a clearinghouse in for NIL so that it's actually name, image, and likeness, that it's not pay for play. I don't know how they ever do that, David. Like, I don't know.
I mean, we always thought it was going to be one of the two revenue streams, right? We never thought this was going to be the only revenue stream, that these schools would agree that the $20.5 million divvied up, however each school decides to divvy up the money, that this would be the only money that is factored into the equation here. By the way, that's $20.5 million for the entire year, not the football year. That's for the entire athletic department for the entire year.
According to this article, there are a couple of things that I find fascinating. This phrase, the consequence for not signing the agreement is steep. A school risks the loss of conference membership and participation against other Power League programs. An athletic director says, you have to sign it or we don't play you. A Power Conference president says, as a condition of membership, you must comply with the settlement and enforcement. These are draconian type steps that they're taking. I don't know how they're enforceable, but then again, I don't understand the inner workings of it. We've all seen Florida State and Clemson suing the ACC and the ACC suing them back.
Well, that's my question to you. Okay, let's just say at first glance, the conferences are going to get their way. These schools are going to kowtow. Do you think one of them won't then take this to court? Do you think that an attorney general in a state somewhere won't take this to court? You think they're going to play by these rules in Texas?
I think they will get sued, but if you're a member of a conference and the conference puts in a set of rules, don't you have to play by them? Isn't this the same as if an NFL team says, well, I'll be damned with the salary cap, I'm going to do what I want?
Well, isn't it Florida State and Clemson having signed what they've signed, but basically saying, yeah, it's illegal. Okay, and we're going to sue to get out of it. That's what I think is going to happen here. I think all the Power Four schools will sign, and then I think at least one of them, and they may have their attorney general in their state say, I'll bail you out. You don't have to sue to get out of it. I'll do it for you.
So I think in theory, what part of they're trying to do is admirable, because all these states have different laws when it comes to NIL. There should be a uniform rule for the colleges.
Yes, and I think that college football should have the authority to control college football. I don't think it should be a states' rights thing.
But when the majority of these universities are state universities that are funded by the individual states, I think that adds more gray area to the whole thing. But it's an interesting article, and it's another way that the conferences are trying to shape the House settlement agreement with NIL and all of those decisions coming down the pike here in the next couple of weeks at a minimum.
And also, what is an agreement to do, Mark, to limit compensation to the athletes? There's no talk in there about limiting coaches' salaries, money that can be spent by the athletic department on whatever the heck they want.
Miller and Moulton. Still got a couple of poll questions up at Miller_Moulton on X. Both the David Moulton and that Mark Miller have retweeted. Vote accordingly. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
We've got a text message for Dr. Dollar. A few of my friends are taking daily Cialis or Viagra. What are the benefits and how much does it cost?
Great question. Cialis, tadalafil, and Viagra, sildenafil are game changer for men who want better performance, stamina, and confidence. They improve blood flow, support long-lasting performance, and help you feel like yourself again. And the best part, at Revitalize Clinic, we make it affordable. Less than $1 per pill. No overpriced prescription, no hassle, just real results, American-made, at the best prices in town. Plus, with early hours starting at 5:30 in the morning, we fit your schedule.
Take control of your health today. Call Revitalize Clinic at 239-277-5770. Visit revitalizelounge.com or text Dr. Dollar directly at 239-980-2302. That's 239-980-2302. Get results. Get confidence. Revitalize Clinic, because every man deserves to perform at his best without breaking the bank. Text Dr. Dollar now at 239-980-2302.
This is Miller and Moulton.
There's a huge difference, CBW and Deadstroke, between NFL tailgates and college tailgates. One, your NFL fan typically doesn't travel nearly as far to go to the games as the college fan does. Doesn't mean that they don't travel. I know all of you can all point to the fact that you travel. I get it. But look at where colleges are compared to where pro teams are. There aren't many colleges that are in metropolitan. Yeah, there's the Miamis of the world that are in metropolitans. And the tailgating is not nearly as prevalent at pro games as it is in college. Not the same way. Yeah, they tailgate, they open their trunk, and they have a beer. But it's not the spread like you see in the Grove or anywhere in the SEC for that matter. They're not bringing RVs, to games. It's just not the same. You can't do one in college because it doesn't fit the window, CBW. See, they've got to get a noon, a 3:30, or 4 game. You can't, you're not going to be able to play at 1 and 3:30. You got to remember, college has that 3:30 window. It's not the NFL that has the 4:25 window. They're going to still play the noon game, guys. I'm just telling you, fans don't like it. They'll all play noon games still. That's when college football starts, noon. Which is why to talk, Irish, well, did you see that I don't give a damn what an Ohio congressman proposed in the Ohio state legislature. I don't have time for it. It's trivial. It doesn't matter.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being here. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X, the bonus hour. Vote in our 2 poll questions. Do you want to reseed the 7 teams that make the NFL playoffs strictly by record? Winning the division doesn't matter anymore. Maybe for a tiebreaker, but that's it. Yay or nay? And are you in favor of the NFL allowing their players to participate in the 2028 Olympics, with the thought being that a few of them might play flag football? Yay or nay? Vote accordingly.
No's are winning 58% to 42% on flag football, and the straight seating is damn near split. Right now, the yeses have a few more votes than the no's, but it has gone back and forth all morning and stayed at basically 51-49 throughout the day.
One bit of NFL news that Adam Schefter posted since this hour got underway. Bears guard Joe Thuney, who they acquired from the Chiefs. He had 1 year left on his deal at $16 million per. Bears have added 2 years to it at 17.5 per year. So he's under contract for 3 for 51. Essentially, 2 of the 3 years are guaranteed because they guaranteed $33.5 million. So under contract for 3, fully guaranteed for 2.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was a day when, brought to you by Game Day Men's Health, locations in Bonita Springs and in Naples. Call today, 239-427-3441. That's 427-3441. Visit them online, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Mention Miller and Moulton for 10% off your service. We start today in 1862. President Lincoln signs the Homestead Act. 1867, Royal Albert Hall in London. The foundation was laid by Queen Victoria, one of the most famous buildings for music and arts in London. Clapton's played there. You look at the list of the performances there, it's pretty impressive. Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis patent the first blue jeans today in 1873. I had to look up who Jacob Davis was. He's the one mostly responsible for making the blue jean. He just ended up working for Levi Strauss his whole life. Today in 1916 was the first Saturday Evening Post cover featuring a Rockwell painting. 1954, Bill Haley and the Comets' Rock Around the Clock is released. It would stall on the charts, but it becomes a hit a year later when it was used in the movie Blackboard Jungle. Today in 64, Buster Mathis beats Joe Frazier on points to qualify for the U.S. Olympic boxing team. He would injure his thumb and then be replaced by Frazier, who would win the gold medal. The Beatles' Let It Be documentary premiered today in 1970. Every Breath You Take by The Police was released today in 1983. It was the Billboard Song of the Year. Roger Clemens gets his first victory today in 84. In the closest Preakness ever, Sunday Silence beats Easy Goer by a nose. Sunday Silence had already beaten Easy Goer for the Derby. Easy Goer would then whoop Sunday Silence in the Belmont. 1993, the final episode of Cheers aired on NBC. Overrated, underrated, rated properly.
Oh, I don't think overrated.
Cheers was a monster.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, they lost 2 main characters.
And the show never got worse.
No, they transitioned it really well. And they went out before we all thought, oh man, this show's, jumped the shark. It ain't Cheers anymore. No, we still thought the show was really good when it went out.
Inglourious Bastards, the Tarantino film, was released today in 2009. And today in 2015, David Letterman hosts The Late Show with David Letterman for the last time, ending 33 years in late night television.
Wow, it's been 10 years. Wow.
One of the most remarkable things about that last show, and I'm a huge fan of the Foo Fighters, but when Letterman got sick, he got into one of the Foo Fighters songs, and the name of the song escapes me, but they did that whole video montage to the Foo Fighters song. The Foo Fighters did it live, and the timing was perfect. Perfect.
It was amazing. It was remarkable, and I don't think it will be the same for our current trio of late night hosts. It was remarkable, the people who essentially begged Dave to be on his show one more time.
James Stewart, Bud Grant, Stan Mikita, Joe Cocker, and Bobby Mercer all would have celebrated birthdays today. Cher and Craig Patrick are 79 years old today. David Wells is 62. Busta Rhymes, 53. Trinity Rodman is 23. And my son Jacob turned 26 today.
Happy birthday, Jake. Did you have Lindbergh?
No.
I didn't think you did. It's the only one I got today. Lindbergh, okay, takes off from Long Island on the world's first solo nonstop flight across the Atlantic. All right, New York to Paris, Spirit of St. Louis. So there you go. It was raining. He took off.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I do want to just throw out one other thing. It was 18 years ago today. Did you have The Simpsons? Because you had Cheers.
Well, it was the Simpsons 400th episode.
But I just wanted to point out, I mean, think about it. 400 episodes is a monster number. It's 18 years later, and they're still going.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I watched that show.
Me too, but still, wow.
For the good, we go to Lakeland, Florida, where Bob B. Scott says his cat, George, went in to get neutered. And right after the surgery, the feline broke out of the cage, climbed a fence, and fled into the wilderness. They searched for a week for George, but it turned out the cat made his own way home and was curled up in his favorite chair in the carport. The cat went 3 miles, surgery, busted out of the hospital, and made its way home. That's pretty impressive. For the bad, we go to Cape Coral, where yesterday an 18-wheeler caused $400,000 in damages after it knocked down a half dozen utility poles, damaged cars, and fences. According to the Cape Coral Police Department, they believe the semi-truck hit a utility line, but the driver continued westbound, dragging the lines behind. The driver, of course, is accused of fleeing the scene. That must have been something. Driving down the road and watching the semi just take down power pole after power pole. For the ugly, we stay in Cape Coral, where James Ryder was found guilty of a slew of crimes. He broke into the lanai of a Cape Coral home and exposed himself to a woman while she was inside washing dishes. The woman saw a man standing on her lanai with his pants down while she was doing dishes. A nearby witness told police the man went into a trailer and believed he lived there. Cape Coral police responded, approached the trailer. A man on a motorcycle wearing a helmet ran away from the scene. He was tracked down and arrested. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, May the 20th, here on Miller and Moulton.
By the way, did you hear Sergio missed qualifying? He bogeyed 18, or else he would have been in a huge playoff. Yesterday was a 36-hole qualifier, I think, in Texas, and he missed it by a shot. So he's going to miss the Open. He had played in 25 in a row.
Wait a minute. The U.S. Open?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the U.S. Open. He's missed a couple of qualifiers by a shot along the way. Between the Open Championship and the U.S. Open, he made final hole bogeys twice to cost himself. But anyway, everybody's playing today. In fact, the Guardians and Twins pick it up in the 4th inning with a 2-1 lead at around 6 o'clock. And then when they finish that game, they'll play the nightcap scheduled for 8 o'clock. Twins on a roll. They've won 13 of 14. Don't look now. The Braves are over 500. Don't look now. The Braves have the best record in the National League over the last 4 weeks. Don't look now. They're like 4 behind the Phillies. They're getting Acuna back and Strider back again before the month is up. Just saying. Remember when the Braves were 5 and 13? Yeah, they're 19 and 10 since. But everybody in baseball, if you're interested, Mets, Red Sox, 6:45. on TBS. It's the only national broadcast of a baseball game tonight.
The hockey gets going in Raleigh, North Carolina. Panthers and Canes. Canes are favored in this game. Probably the best line you'll get on the Panthers in the series is tonight.
8 o'clock, TNT, probably start around 8:10 to 8:15. But TNT has the East for hockey and hoops. ESPN has the West for hockey and hoops. They've got hoops tonight. Minnesota at Oklahoma City, 8:30, ESPN. Thunder, a solid 7.5-point favorite. I got to take the points tonight.
I'm with you. I would take the points. I'm fascinated by Canes and Panthers to see what game one looks like, to see just how effective the forecheck can be for the Panthers. Can they put the pressure on Carolina's D, and how that works out in that game? The one thing I am excited about, David, I was worried with the Dallas and Edmonton series because it's 1 Central Time, 1 Mountain Time. Would they give us some 8:30 or even 9 o'clock starts? All of the starts in hockey are 8 o'clock through until we get to games that are TBAs, except for one of the weekend games, which Dallas Edmonton will play at 3 o'clock. So fired up that they're starting, 8:10-ish. Instead of a little later.
If we can avoid overtime, we should be done by 11 at the latest. Even with these hockey games taking much longer than they did during the regular season, I also think the intermissions are a few minutes longer.
I would bet on it. I think the intermissions are a lot closer. Usually they're 15 in the NHL. They're a lot closer to 18. I think the networks have said we're going to jam one extra break in here. Deal with it. Play that Zamboni song one more time.
So you get Sean McDonough with Ray Ferrara doing the West. You get Kenny Albert and Eddie Olczyk doing the East. Okay, at least for the hockey. Kevin Harlan and TNT doing the Knicks Pacers. So Reggie Miller, TNT's final basketball series will be Reggie Miller on the mic doing Knicks Pacers.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than having to deal with Stephen A. doing pre, post, and halftime of the Knicks series, though. Because you can be a homer being a color analyst. You can. It's a lot harder than when you're cheerleading pre, post, and during the intermission about a game. So basketball and hockey semifinals get started this evening, the conference finals, as we start looking forward to the NBA finals and the Stanley Cup final, about 10 or so days, maybe 2 weeks away, and we'll get closer to crowning champions. But they start tonight. Can the Panthers get one of two on the road as they take on the Carolina Hurricanes and then the Thunder and T-Wolves out west in hoop?
Do you think any of the NFL votes will not pass? Tush push, schedule, and players in the Olympics.
I think they all pass.
I don't know if the tush push does. We'll see. Miller and Moulton.
Southwest Florida's scorching heat is on its way. Stay cool with Air Advantage. As a proud Ream Pro partner, Air Advantage delivers top-notch air conditioning solutions to keep you cool and comfortable. Right now, enjoy 18 months, no interest, no payments on qualifying systems. Call 433-4635 today for expert installation and unbeatable comfort all summer long. Online at myairadvantage.com. Air Advantage. Call today, 433-4635. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Summer approaching, time to take care of your own house. So stop into the Floor Meisters and see their huge in-stock selection of carpet. The Floor Meisters has 100 rolls to choose from, starting at $2.99 a square foot for carpet, pad, and installation. Come in and ask for Dave and have him show you the Dream Weaver Select. Many styles and colors to choose from to fit everyone's taste. Floor Meisters, 6281 Naples Boulevard in Naples, right next to Costco, or go to the web, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. I've been a customer for over a year and cannot say enough good things about their service and communication. If you're a business owner, you can trust Molly Maid to do an exceptional job. Their expert team delivers tailored cleaning for whatever your needs, ensuring a pristine environment for clients and staff. Visit mollymaid.com/FT-Myers or call 239-418-0052. Molly Maid makes my home shine, and it will make your home or business shine too.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This is Miller and Moulton.